Finally, everyone, please remember this: don't drink and drive. You must abide by the laws and regulations. It had to be said that Li Jiang and her public relations team did have some tricks up their sleeves. They had described a bad-tempered, arrogant, drunk-driving evildoer as a professional, polite, kind-hearted, and virtuous victim. After this Weibo post was posted with the help of Li Jiang and other related personnel, it immediately caused a huge response. Big tree, I knew it. My Jiang would never drink and drive, so that's what happened. You're the wind, I'm the sand. Jiang has worked so hard to film a good TV show. My heart aches for her. Fruit flavor, Jiang is an actress, the best actress, ball JPG. Hua, in the past I heard people say that Jiang was a TV show addict. It's true, after seeing Jiang's Weibo post my heart really aches for her. Candle, I will support Jiang even more in the future. Blossoming waves, she kept apologizing to the Audi owner and even offered the best compensation. Don't worry, if the person sees it, they'll definitely forgive you. Peng, Jiang, you don't have to apologize to your fans, we should be the ones apologizing. We were wrong about you before. Lie, aren't earthquakes unpredictable? How did Li Jiang feel an earthquake coming? Windman, didn't you see the article on the earthquake forecast? Yesterday, many people knew that an earthquake was going to happen in Chuan City. If you heard a loud noise in the middle of the night, won't you think it's an earthquake? Magnanimous man, I'm from Chuan City. When I saw the article yesterday, my mother was about to take us to another city to escape. After all, there's a saying, if you believe something, it's real. If you don't believe it, it's not. Why, Jiang is such a nice person. She's even worried about the Audi owner. I'm only worried about whether Jiang is injured. Consort, I hope Jiang is fine. Lonely bug, pray for Jiang. Soon, the number of comments and shares on Li Jiang's Weibo post reached more than 100,000, and it firmly occupied the top of the hot search list. It was also after this Weibo post that everyone immediately forgot about her drunk driving. Instead, they started to feel sorry for Li Jiang and prayed for her. In fact, Li Jiang's fans did not even decrease because of the drunk driving incident. On the contrary, the number of her fans was rising steadily. Li Jiang silently looked at the comments on Weibo and her increasing number of fans. The corners of her mouth curled up. She decided to take this opportunity to raise her popularity to another level. Li Jiang asked the makeup artist to make her face look pale. Then she lay on the bed and took a few photos. When everything was ready, she updated her Weibo again. Li Jiang, I'm so touched after seeing the comments from my most adorable fans. Your support is my greatest motivation. If I don't get punished by the company for this, I promise that I'll repay my lovely fans with more and better works. In addition, my body is already fine. Lastly, if the Audi owner sees my Weibo post, please contact me as soon as possible. I'm really worried about your health. Please let me make up for my mistake, thank you. The Weibo post was not long, but it fully expressed Li Jiang's pitiful and caring image. At the same time, it further strengthened her kind character. Following that, Li Jiang and the relevant personnel bought traffic and let more people join in the comments. Rose, Jiang is so haggard, my heart aches for her, yet she's still concerned about the Audi owner, she's really kind. Stranger, even the sick Jiang is beautiful. Belief, Jiang, you have to take good care of your body, we look forward to more of your work. Dream of the stars, this isn't Jiang's fault at all, the company shouldn't punish her. Oops, what does this have to do with Jiang? If you want to blame someone, blame that article shared by the public account. City within a city, earthquakes are unpredictable, that article is simply spreading rumors, everyone quickly report it. Thunder from a clear sky, it caused Jiang to get into a car accident, report it. Very quickly, the post about the earthquake was blocked. Even the public account Sister Furong was shut down. Huang Furong looked at the official account that had just gained 100,000 fans. She had not earned any money from it and it was gone. It made Huang Furong feel as if she had fallen from the sky to the ground. Her entire person was extremely dejected. The official account and article were gone, but Li Jiaying did not stop there. If the popularity of the matter subsided, the traffic would drop. Hence she posted a new Weibo post. Li Jiaying, I have good news. I've contacted the Audi owner. He's not injured. I can finally relax. In addition, thank you, my lovely fans, for reminding me that the article was just a rumor. Earthquakes are unpredictable. I'll be more cautious in the future. Chat screenshot JPG chat screenshot JPG chat screenshot JPG. I don't know how many people have been deceived like me. The first person to spread the rumor is really too evil. If you see similar news in the future, please take my case as a warning. Don't listen to rumors, don't believe rumors, and don't spread rumors. This time, Li Jiaying continued to maintain her kind side. At the same time, she also established her image as a public figure who led by example, respected the law, and abided by the law. At this moment, a beautiful, kind, loyal, law-abiding, and perfect idol with both virtue and skill was born. Love you, that's great, the Audi owner is fine, Jiaying can finally rest in peace. Someone's song, I also don't listen to rumors, don't believe rumors, and don't spread rumors. Jiaying is really a good star who spreads positive energy. She is indeed my goddess. Jing Jiaying is right. The first person to spread the rumor is too evil. My mom was worried and scared all day because of the news of the earthquake. Extraordinarily handsome, this kind of person must be punished. Is there someone who can find the first person who spread the news of the earthquake? By Li, it's obvious who's the first person to spread the rumors. It's Lin Fan from Loving Family. Gucheng Wangking, are there any big shots that can find Lin Fan? This kind of person must be punished by society. Dream of the stars, it's not enough for him to be condemned by society. He spread rumors and broke the law, he must be severely punished. Lin Fan did not know or care about what was happening on the internet. In the morning, after Lin Fan left Hu Tian's house, he drove the Mercedes-Benz G-Class and brought Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian to KM Mall. He was prepared to buy them some good things. They were really too thrifty. Qiu Ziqian's condition was slightly better. Lin Fan had given her a total of 2 million. In just over a month, she had used up 1.2 million. As for Huang Ling's 1 million, she had more than a month to spend it and still had nearly 900,000. As it was New Year's Day, KM Mall was full of ribbons and balloons, making it particularly festive. All sorts of discount activities were displayed on the huge electronic display screen. Therefore, it attracted many people to come and shop, and it was very lively. Lin Fan had just walked into the main entrance of KM Mall when he saw the Patek Philippe store not far away. Hence he walked straight over. Patek Philippe was high-end and fashionable. The storefront was luxuriously decorated and had an atmosphere of luxury. The location was even better. As long as one entered KM Mall, they would find it. However, when they saw the price of any one of the Patek Philippe watches, they would stop and quickly leave. The watches were simply too expensive. At this time, a middle-aged man with a beer belly was looking at 2 watches, struggling to make a choice. "Welcome," the shop assistant behind him said with a smile. Then a light and elegant fragrance slowly drifted over. The middle-aged man could not help but turn around. He only saw 2 curvaceous beauties strolling in. They were Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling. Today, Qiu Ziqian was wearing a white dress that matched her fair skin. She looked like a fairy that had descended from the heavens. Huang Ling was wearing a pink lace dress, and with her exquisite features she looked like a carefully made doll. When the middle-aged man saw them, he could not take his eyes off them. He did not even notice Lin Fan, who was standing at the side. When Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling came closer, the middle-aged man came back to his senses and pointed at a golden watch. "This one looks okay, I'll take it." His tone was so relaxed and indifferent. It was as if the person who had been sitting in the shop and thinking for nearly half an hour was not him. "It's 253,888 yuan in total," the salesperson said. "Sir, are you paying by card?" "Yes, I am." The middle-aged man took out a bank card. Beep. After a soft sound, the bill appeared. The middle-aged man put the watch on his wrist. Then he acted as if he had just seen Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "You two beauties are not only beautiful but you also have good taste. Be it the workmanship or the style, the ballista is one of the best in the world. It even has the title of the king of 10,000 watches." Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian responded perfunctorily out of courtesy. "Let me introduce myself. I'm the general manager of Wind Feather Media, Kai Bowen. I wonder if I have the opportunity to get to know you two beautiful ladies." The middle-aged man did not seem to notice their perfunctory response. As he spoke, he handed out two business cards and deliberately showed them the watch he had just bought. Kai Bowen had just bought a watch that cost 253,888 yuan, and now he had even revealed his identity as the general manager of Wind Feather Media. The two beauties in front of him would definitely accept his business card. This was the double temptation of money and status. This was only a matter of course for Kai Bowen. Before this, Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian were still perfunctory, but now they were completely ignoring him. Kai Bowen held up his business cards and felt a little awkward. Lin Fan, who was standing at the side, did not care too much. He pointed at the watch not far away and asked, "What do you guys think of this watch?" "It's so beautiful," Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian praised from the bottom of their hearts. "This is Patek Philippe's PP series," the salesperson beside him introduced. "The same model comes in two colors, red and white. The case is made of 18K rose gold and inlaid with 347 diamonds, and the dial is a white Bali Island mother-of-pearl shell. The overall look is luxurious but pure." Lin Fan noticed that after the salesperson's introduction, Huang Ling's and Qiu Ziqian's beautiful eyes became even brighter. "All right, I'll take two then," he said. The salesperson was slightly stunned. "I'll have two of these watches," Lin Fan repeated. All right," the salesperson finally reacted and responded. She had served many rich people. However, this was the first time she had met someone who directly asked for two. She had yet to say how much the watches cost, right? "The price of each watch is 518,888 yuan. May I know who you are, sir?" the salesperson quickly said. Before she could finish, Lin Fan handed her a bank card. Beep. He swiped his bank card on the POS machine, and the bill appeared. 1,000,000 yuan worth of goods was successfully purchased just like that. How long had it been? From the moment he entered the door to the payment, everything was done in less than a minute. At the same time, Lin Fan's phone showed 103 more red packets waiting to be collected. The salesperson was still a little confused and asked, "Sir, what colors would you like?" "You two can choose the color you like." Lin Fan turned to Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian. Even though Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian had already witnessed Lin Fan's generosity, they were still filled with excitement and sweetness. "I want the white one," Qiu Ziqian said. "I want the red one," Huang Ling said. "If you want to attract girls, you have to show them something practical," Lin Fan said to Kai Bowen. Kai Bowen, who had been holding his business cards, blushed. He quickly took back the business cards and tried to cover the watch he had just bought with his sleeve. Then he ran out. How embarrassing. It was too embarrassing. Lin Fan chuckled and shook his head. After that, he brought Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling to buy bags of clothes and cosmetics, spending a total of 1.02 million yuan. The sky had completely darkened. Lin Fan, Qiu Ziqian, and Huang Ling returned to Yaqi City. Even though they had been shopping for an entire day, Lin Fan was still full of energy. Oh epsilon. 3*3 epsilon. Normally, the Jingbei Scientific Research Institute would have a holiday during the new year. Today, however, it was a hubbub of voices. Many famous scientists were gathered here. Wavelength correct. Frequency correct. It's shaking, there's no mistake. The principle of the earthquake diviner correct. After the last voice was heard, the venue immediately burst into a loud cheer. Feng Jixiang in particular was so happy that he jumped up. This meant that the earthquake prediction device had really been built. Humans could predict earthquakes in advance. This would definitely reduce the number of disasters. After Feng Jixiang returned home, he was still in a good mood, hence he started to play with his phone. After a while, his eyes fell on the trending title, The Culprit Lin Fan. 137, Are You Worthy of Being a Scientific Genius? Feng Jixiang looked at the news headline and frowned slightly. He could not help but click on the hot news, and countless comments and screenshots instantly entered his eyes. Flower in the wind, Lin Fan spread rumors about the earthquake and hurt Jiang. He must be severely punished. 432, yes, Lin Fan is the main culprit. Come out and apologize to Jiang. A strong person, P. Lin Fan, hurry up and come out to apologize to Jiang. As he continued to flip through the pages, Feng Jixiang's face turned ashen. The smile on his face was long gone, and in its place was anger. Feng Jixiang could tell that the Lin Fan from the Loving Family group chat was the Lin Fan who created the earthquake prediction device. Feng Jixiang clearly remembered the shock on the faces of the academicians and scientists at the Scientific Research Institute when they saw the earthquake prediction device and the principles of building an earthquake prediction device. He also understood that these things did not appear out of thin air. It was something that Lin Fan had painstakingly developed. In fact, after Lin Fan developed it, he handed it over to the country selflessly. Such a selfless scientist. However, at this moment, he was framed by an actress and even maliciously exposed on the internet. It was simply preposterous. Feng Jixiang's eyes were red with anger, and he was so anxious that he kept packing around on the spot. After a long while, he made a call. Director Qi from the Earthquake Center, I'm Feng Jixiang from the Scientific Research Institute. Lin Fan from Jiangbei University has developed an earthquake prediction device, and it passed our research institute's review. Now, we need you to make an announcement to prevent unnecessary harm to the public. Although the earthquake prediction device had indeed passed the review of the scientists, it was only in theory. In fact, it would be best to wait for a few earthquakes to happen and see if the results were consistent with the predictions. This was the safest way to announce it. However, Feng Jixiang could not wait that long. Firstly, as he said, he did not want the masses to be hurt. Secondly, he did not want the selfless scientist Lin Fan to be slandered, even if it meant that he had to take a huge risk for this. That night, the Earthquake Center released the news on their website and on their official website. Recently, Lin Fan of Jiangbei University invented an earthquake prediction device that can predict earthquakes that might take place 5 days before they occur. We'll now announce the earthquake situation in the next 5 days. Fu City, North Latitude, 26.9 East Longitude, 119.3, a magnitude 4.1 earthquake with an epicenter depth of 70 kilometers will occur at about 15:30 on January 2. Chuan City, North Latitude, 40.1 East Longitude, 125.2, at about 21:30 on January 2, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake will occur with an epicenter depth of 80 kilometers. Han City, North Latitude, 31.1 East Longitude, 113.2, a magnitude 3.5 earthquake with an epicenter depth of 60 kilometers will occur at around 9:20 on January 3. After this news appeared, people quickly began to comment. I'm your big brother, there'll really be an earthquake in Chuan City today, F***CK, run. Hello model, an earthquake in Fu City too, hurry up and pack up to take refuge. Windman Lin Fan invented an earthquake prediction device. In that case, the article did not spout nonsense. King among kings, heavens, why are there so many earthquakes? Days, no way, there'll be an earthquake in Han City too, this has never happened before. It had to be said that the influence of the Earthquake Center was still great, and the discussion was rising rapidly. The number of comments and shares quickly reached tens of thousands, and it directly jumped to the top 5 of the most searched list. In reality, many people also began to discuss it. In a dark rental house, Chen Zhang, who had a full beard, saw this and immediately smelled the business opportunity of traffic. Thus, he logged into a Weibo account with the ID Sunshine Scholar. Chen Hao first chewed the beetle nut hard and took a deep puff of a cigarette. After that, he tried to search for information about Lin Fan of Jiangbei University. Finally, he released an article. Are you worthy of being a scientific genius? The following is what I think as a scholar. Today, I learned from my friend that the people in the cities are carrying their bags while rushing to places. Cars are swarming together, causing car accidents to happen constantly. All the roads are congested and there are even frequent tramples. Among these people, some successfully left the cities while some are stuck. No one is even there to clean up the bodies which have piled up like a mountain. Car crash JPG. Trample JPG. Corpse JPG. When I saw these photos, my heart was filled with grief. I shouted, why have the originally lively and prosperous cities become like this? So, I quickly asked many friends and found out that this isn't only happening in Fu City but also Chuan City and Han City. And the reason for all of this is a student of Jiangbei University, Lin Fan. That's right. It's the same Lin Fan who posted about the earthquake in the Loving Family group chat, causing the famous movie star Li Jiang to be in a car accident. Earthquakes are the most terrifying and mysterious disasters. All the famous experts, professors, and scientists in Japan, the United States, and other countries have dedicated their lives to the study of earthquakes. Could it be that their research has not produced any results? No, they've already finished their research. As far as I know, Professor Yamamoto from Japan has studied earthquake fluctuations a long time ago. Professor Haaland from the United States and Professor Manhudens have also made huge discoveries in the direction of earthquakes. However, none of them dared to say that an earthquake would occur in a certain place in a few hours. That was because earthquakes occur tens of thousands of meters underground. They're unfathomable. It's just like how it's impossible for humans to predict whether they'll fall in a few hours. It's just an emergency situation. Even many famous foreign scientists haven't been able to do it. But now, a student from Jiangbei University has done it. Could he be the legendary scientific genius? And so, filled with deep curiosity, I spent a great deal of effort in geography, physics, and other related fields to search for information on this scientific genius. Finally, I saw his name in the corner of the latest issue of PNAS. In the paper, the frequency of the H particles during earthquakes in PNAS, Lin Fan was the third name listed. What does this mean? Generally speaking, he's someone who's provided a little contribution to the thesis. However, this student from Jiangbei University, Lin Fan, thought that he could use some special means to invent an earthquake prediction device after just offering a little contribution to the thesis. He completely ignored the fact that masses would rush around and die tragically. 138 Lin Fan, you've worked hard. The article by Sunshine Scholar was quickly noticed by Li Jiang and the others. As a result, they led a large number of fake reviewers and fans to like and share the post. Li Jiang herself liked the post. Instantly, the popularity soared. Lonely Frog, this is too miserable, so many people actually died. Author, I saw an old man being stepped to death in the photo. Truth, I've been wondering about this. There are so many big names in the United States and Germany, but none of them have invented an earthquake prediction device. How did a person in Hua Nation come out of nowhere and invent an earthquake prediction device? Nameless man, we people in Hua Nation have always been doing fake things like this. When will we be able to do the truth like the US and others? How many big shots do we really have here? Molala, the universities here have been tainted a long time ago. I don't find it strange at all that such a situation has occurred. Treasure, Jingjiang and the victims are really too miserable. Not long after, Sunshine Scholar appeared on Weibo's hot search list. Chen Zhang looked at the rising number of views and fans, and his whole face almost burst into laughter. At this moment his phone vibrated slightly. His American sponsor had sent him a message. Today's article was not bad. Continue to lead the conflict. I'll give you $1,000,000 reward first. Then Chen Zhang's phone vibrated again. Notice from Huishang Bank, 1,000,000 yuan have been deposited into your account. Seeing this, Chen Zhang was so happy that he directly jumped up. Then he placed his hands on the keyboard and began to type quickly again, preparing to publish another article. In the Zhou family's house in Jingbei, Zhou Guotao carefully read the information in front of him. After a while he said, "So Lin Fan invented an earthquake prediction device that can predict earthquakes 5 days in advance. Furthermore, it has passed the review of all the experts in the Scientific Research Institute. But now he's being attacked online by an actress and some nobodies." Zhou Guotao's tone was calm. However, Zhou Shihong, who was standing at the side, understood that the old man was really angry. The reason why Zhou Guotao was able to turn the Zhou family into one of the top 4 families by himself was because of his own power. On one hand, it was because he was more capable than others. On the other hand, it was because he loved his country and was loyal to it. That was why Hua Nation dared to let him develop. Now Zhou Guotao heard someone defaming scientists, especially this scientist. It was Lin Fan. One had to know that Lin Fan had saved his life before. Zhou Guotao's anger was obvious. "It's about time the entertainment industry is reorganized," Zhou Guotao said in a low voice after a while. Jingbei the Qin family. After Lin Fan's grandfather's birthday, Qin Weiming brought his grandson back to Jingbei. At this moment, Qin Weiming was sitting leisurely on the armchair, shaking his body gently. At this moment, a man with a badge on his shoulder walked over with a straight back. "Lil Su, what's the matter?" Qin Weiming raised his eyes. "Old leader, Lin Fan has developed an earthquake prediction device that can predict earthquakes 5 days in advance," Lil Su said. "Oh, Lin Fan is really something. He knows mathematics, has medical skills, and now he has even invented an earthquake prediction device. Good, good, good." Qin Weiming's cloudy eyes lit up as he spoke, and he stood up. Obviously, he was very happy to hear this news. Back then, Qin Weiming rose up to resist because he did not want the people to suffer. He could drive away the invaders. However, natural disasters like earthquakes could not be driven away. Therefore, every time an earthquake happened, Qin Weiming would be heartbroken. Now, hearing that someone had invented an earthquake prediction device and one that could predict earthquakes 5 days in advance, this would definitely greatly reduce the suffering of the people. How could he not be happy? Qin Weiming was happy, but he realized that Lil Su seemed to have something to say. He could not help but ask, "What's the matter? Is there anything else?" "Also, the internet is attacking Lin Fan," Lil Su said. Qin Weiming heard this and frowned. "Eh?" Then Lil Su took out a stack of documents. Qin Weiming quickly flipped through them. The next moment he slammed his palm on the armchair and the back of the chair broke. It was obvious how angry Qin Weiming was after reading the information. Very well, an actress and some nobodies publicly slandered a scientist who's serving the country and the people. How dare they? In the dim rental house, Chen Zhang opened the backend again and looked at the rapidly rising view count and the number of followers. He could not help but stand up and shake his butt. "I'm rich, I'm really rich this time," he laughed. At this moment there was a dull knock on the door. "Who is it?" Chen Zhang frowned. "Express delivery." "Express delivery," Chen Zhang muttered. "I don't think I bought anything." Even though he was confused, he still opened the door. Whoosh! In the next moment, a large group of officers rushed in and shouted, "Squat down. Hold your heads." Chen Zhang was so scared that he did not even have time to react. Bang! Seeing that he was not moving, an officer went over and threw him over his shoulder, directly making him fall to the ground. Juan City Hospital. Li Jiang was lying on the hospital bed, but her face was full of smiles. With this car accident, not only did her popularity not decline, but she also increased her popularity. Li Jiang could already see the scene of countless resources flying toward her in the future. At this moment, her phone, which was placed beside her pillow, rang. Li Jiang looked at the caller ID, and the smile on her face widened. This was a call from the boss of the company she had signed a contract with. The boss was definitely calling to congratulate her on her rise in popularity. However, as soon as Li Jiang picked up the phone, a roar came from the other side. "Li Jiang, what the hell did you do?" Just now, the contracts for your movies, TV shows, and commercials, the entire media industry has cut off all cooperation with us. My company's TV shows and movies, now they're all rubbish. Hurry up and explain this to me. Li Jiang was dumbfounded and did not know how to explain. At this moment, a large group of police officers suddenly rushed in from outside the door. Li Jiang, you're under arrest. At the same time, all the negative comments and insults about Lin Fan disappeared as if they had never appeared in the first place. Just as many people were feeling puzzled, the People's Daily published an article. Congratulations to Lin Fan of Jiangbei University for inventing an earthquake prediction device that can predict earthquakes 5 days in advance. This research will greatly reduce the disasters caused by earthquakes and save countless lives and property. Let us sincerely say to Lin Fan, you've worked hard, thank you. 139 praise from everyone, red packets. After People's Daily published the news, everyone understood that they had been deceived earlier. Fruit-flavored Tangyuan, Lin Fan, you've worked hard, thank you. Strawberry Lin Fan, you've worked hard, thank you. Loyalty Lin Fan, you've worked hard, thank you. Last stand, Sunlight Scholar is really scheming. He even said that there were corpses piled up in Fu City. I checked and found that the photo of the corpse was actually a screenshot from the movie War of Resistance. If you don't believe me, you can go and take a look. The photo of the trampling is from the TV show New Nobleman, and the photo of the traffic jam isn't from Fu City at all. Wish heavens, so this is the truth. We were all fooled by Sunlight Scholar. Everyone for me, I was wondering why I didn't see any trampling or corpses when I was in Fu City. Fragrance to Feng Yue, Sunshine Scholar, is he worthy of being called a scholar, Sunshine Pa? Wang's woman, I've long said that there's something wrong with Sunshine Scholar. Why is it possible for foreigners to invent it but we Hua nation people definitely can't? Are you so ready to worship our countries? Amidst everyone's discussion, the authorities released evidence of Sunshine Scholar collecting fees from foreign organizations to cause conflicts. They also released the video of Li Jiang crashing into an Audi after drinking at the bar that day, as well as evidence of Li Jiang evading taxes. Instantly, the entire internet was in an uproar. Gift F*CK, I was wondering why Sunshine Scholar would publish such an article. It turns out he's a scumbag. To Jun Moruo, I must have been blind in the past to actually like Li Jiang. Nature, an actress actually scammed a scientist. We can't let news of this out. Treasure, we need to get rid of evil from its roots. Amidst everyone's heated discussions, the earthquake finally arrived at 15:30 on January 2. Rumbled. The entire city shook. A few old houses that had been in disrepair for a long time and were uninhabited fell to the ground with a loud bang. A ditch that was a few centimeters wide appeared on a muddy and dilapidated road. Fu City was in an earthquake. Fortunately, everyone in Fu City had received the notice and came to the open space in advance. Moreover, the magnitude of the earthquake was not high. Therefore, there were no casualties. Then, at 21:30 on January 2, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake occurred in Chuan City. At 9:20 on January 3, a magnitude 3.5 earthquake occurred in Han City. Every earthquake was predicted accurately. The earthquake prediction device was successfully developed and it was accurate. The entire country was in an uproar. Lin Fan had no idea about all of this. At this moment he was lying alone in the coiling dragon villa, fast asleep. He had been accompanying Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling for the past 3 days. Even though Lin Fan had violent aesthetics which enhanced his body, 3 consecutive days still made him a little tired. Since it was New Year's, it was inevitable that the dormitory was a little noisy. That was why he chose to rest in the coiling dragon villa. At this moment, a crisp notification rang out in Lin Fan's mind. Ding, hidden mission completed, everyone is praising you, you've received 5 silver packets. Hearing this, Lin Fan, who had been sleeping for a long time, opened his eyes slowly. His face was filled with confusion. Praise, what is this? These days, he only cared about accompanying Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling, so he really did not know what had happened. Lin Fan rubbed his nose and muttered, forget it, I don't care, let's see what I can get first. Do you wish to open the 5 silver packets? Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've received 500,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 Bugatti Veyron. Ding, congratulations, you've received Koenigsegg CCR1. Ding, congratulations, you have received 300,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 10x Enhancement Potion X3. Lin Fan looked at the contents of the 4 silver packets and frowned. His face was filled with disappointment. If other people found out, who knew what kind of expression they would have? The Bugatti Veyron and Koenigsegg CCR were both supercars worth more than 20 million yuan. However, Lin Fan was disappointed. Then Lin Fan locked his gaze on the 10x Enhancement Potions. 10x Enhancement Potion, a special potion. After drinking it, it can increase one's spirit, reaction speed, strength, and other aspects by 10 times for 24 hours. It makes one stronger and faster, thus more charming. When Lin Fan saw this, his lips curled up. This potion would make him 10 times stronger immediately. This was definitely a good potion. Lin Fan slowly raised his head. In front of him were 2 car keys. He walked out of the window. Other than the Mercedes-Benz, there were 2 more super sports cars outside. However, Lin Fan had no intention of going downstairs to admire them. Instead, he slowly picked up his phone. Do you wish to open 255 red packets? This was mainly the red packets that he had received from helping Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling buy things on New Year's Day. Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained the skill doubling card. Ding, congratulations, you've received 199 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received a skill level upgrade card. With 255 red packets, Lin Fan received a total of 352,211 yuan. Of course, money was not important. More importantly, Lin Fan had also obtained the doubling skill card and the skill level upgrade card that he had always wanted. To Lin Fan, these 2 items alone were worth more than 5 silver packets. Could this be quantity over quality? Level LV5. Level 5 reward, 20 yuan for every breath, 20 yuan for every second of sleep, and 20 yuan for every step taken. Rewards are distributed at 12 a.m. daily. Upgrade cost, 10.05 million, 50 million, not including gifts and gambling. In addition, all items obtained from the system are prohibited from being traded. Skills, professional driving skills, charming aura, 5% chance of triggering love at first sight, unforgettable memory, violent aesthetics, drinking gentleman, absolute focus, 10% chance of triggering a flash of inspiration, professor-level mathematics experience, eyes of truth, professor-level English, professor-level chemistry skills, scanning. Funds, 221 million. Lin Fan rubbed his chin and hesitated about what skill to level up. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. It was Lin Xiaoyao. Brother, I heard that Lin Fan from Jiangbei University invented an earthquake prediction device. That person, could it be you? Lin Xiaoyao asked as soon as she picked up the call. Lin Fan was stunned. How do you know that? F*CK, it's really you, awesome, Lin Xiaoyao shouted excitedly. 140 new shop opening, congratulations. After Lin Fan hung up the phone, he started to search for relevant news online. It turned out that the Earthquake Center had already released the news of the earthquake prediction device, and People's Daily had even praised him. However, Lin Fan's photo was not published online. That was why Lin Xiaoyao called to ask. Lin Fan rubbed his slightly deflated stomach and walked straight to the front of the Bugatti Veyron. He then sat on it. Boom! He did not have the time to observe the new car. He stepped on the accelerator and rushed out. Lin Fan ate some food and went straight to Jiangbei University. At this moment, a bright banner was hung in front of the gate of Jiangbei University. Congratulations to our school, Lin Fan, for his invention of the earthquake prediction device. Last time when he solved Zhou's conjecture and the twin prime number conjecture, Lin Fan had the same experience. Therefore, he did not pay too much attention to it. Dorm 104. Zhang Jinbao was so focused on his game that he did not notice Lin Fan when he entered. Not long after, Ma Zhang walked in with a few books. When he saw Lin Fan, he could not help but say, "Brother Lin Fan, you're back, that earthquake." However, before he could finish, Zhang Jinbao, who was originally focused on playing the game, jumped up and said, "Brother Lin Fan, did you invent the earthquake prediction device?" Lin Fan looked at his excited expression and could not help but laugh. "Other than me, who else could it be?" F***CK, Zhang Jinbao shouted. F***CK, Ma Zhang also called out. When they found out that the earthquake prediction device was invented by Lin Fan of Jiangbei University, they suspected that it was their roommate even though they did not see the photo. However, even after Lin Fan confirmed it, they were still shocked. After all, that was an earthquake prediction device. A high-tech product that no one in the world had invented. In the end, it was actually invented by their roommate. At this moment, there was the sound of footsteps outside. Before Song Yi arrived, his voice was heard first. "What are you guys shouting about?" When he saw that it was Lin Fan, he shouted, "Brother Lin Fan, you invented the earthquake prediction device, right?" Then, Song Yi took a big step forward and opened his arms to embrace Lin Fan. Lin Fan quickly retreated to the side and nodded, "I invented it, but don't get too excited, I don't have any special preferences." "Brother Lin Fan," Song Yi scratched the back of his head, "can you tell us what that earthquake prediction device looks like?" Zhang Jinbao and Ma Zhang pricked up their ears. Obviously, they were also very interested in this. Lin Fan said, "You've all seen it." The three of them were puzzled. "A few days ago, wasn't there a black box here?" Lin Fan said. The three of them nodded. "That's the earthquake prediction device," said Lin Fan. F***CK, Zhang Jinbao, Ma Zhang, and Song Yi all widened their eyes and howled loudly. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID. It was a call from his good friend from Shanwu village, Kai Zhengyi. Lin Fan and Kai Zhengyi had exchanged contact information when Lin Fan went back to Shanwu village to celebrate his grandfather's birthday. "Lil Yi, did you hear about the earthquake prediction device?" Lin Fan asked with a smile. "What earthquake prediction device?" Kai Zhengyi asked. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment before saying, "It's nothing." "Oh right, why did you call me today?" "Oh, I opened a barbecue restaurant in Jiangbei today. Come and try it when you're free," Kai Zhengyi said. Some people would often pay attention to online news because they had free time. Some people spent all their time working hard. Lin Fan smiled. "Really? Then I definitely have to go over. Where's the location? Send the address to me." "Alright," Kai Zhengyi said. After hanging up the call, Lin Fan chatted with his roommates for a while before heading to the place Kai Zhengyi had mentioned. When Lin Fan passed by a flower shop, he bought a flower basket for the opening ceremony. When he arrived at a traffic light not far away, his phone rang again. "There are so many calls today," Lin Fan muttered. "Brother Lin Fan, you're really amazing. Not only did you solve 2 math problems, but you also invented an earthquake prediction device. This is a divine piece of equipment." It was the voice of the leader of Jiangbei City, Zhao Yang. Last time, Zhao Yang went to Jiangbei University and did not talk much with Lin Fan. However, they still exchanged contact details. Lin Fan said, "That's just a small invention. Brother Zhao, you flatter me. How can this be considered a divine piece of equipment?" Zhao Yang immediately refused. "This isn't considered a divine piece of equipment. Let's talk about the recent events first. During New Year's Day, if it weren't for your earthquake prediction device, 3 consecutive earthquakes would have directly or indirectly caused many injuries. Countless assets would have been lost. Let's talk about the future. No one knows when a major earthquake will occur. The earthquake prediction device will play a role in saving countless people." Zhao Yang's tone became extremely high. It was as if he was singing praise to a great savior. Savior. Perhaps the earthquake prediction device could really be called a savior at some point in time. Also, only our country has the technology to predict earthquakes. We can use it to raise our international status, Zhao Yang said. "Lin Fan, you're Hua Nation's hero." Zhao Yang's tone became more enthusiastic when he said this. If he was the one who invented the earthquake prediction device, Zhao Yang felt that his future would be bright. Unfortunately, he was not. Since that was the case, he had to befriend Lin Fan. Zhao Yang had already prepared for this. Lin Fan rubbed his nose and said, "Brother Zhao, did you call to praise me?" "I called to congratulate you. Are you free later? I'm going to organize a celebration party for you with the leaders of Jiangbei. After all, you're a student of Jiangbei University and we've benefited from you again." Zhao Yang laughed heartily. Later, Lin Fan asked, "I'm afraid that won't do. My good friend opened a shop and I'm going over to support him." Zhao Yangyan was not disappointed. On the contrary, his eyes lit up. "Is that so? Anyway, it's time to get off work. Let's go and support your friend together," Zhao Yang said. In fact, when Zhao Yang saw Lin Fan sitting next to Qin Weiming, he wanted to befriend him. Later on, during Lin Fan's grandfather's birthday celebration, Zhao Yang made a decision on this idea. Unfortunately, he never found a suitable opportunity. Now that Lin Fan had invented the earthquake prediction device, Zhao Yang was even more eager to befriend Lin Fan. At the same time, he found another opportunity. Zhao Yang waited until New Year's Day ended before making a call. "All right," Lin Fan said, "I'll send you the address later." 141 Barbecue Stall, Finding Trouble. After Lin Fan arrived at the location, he looked around and finally saw a somewhat remote place. There was a barbecue shop. Kai Zhengyi was standing at the entrance of the barbecue restaurant, carefully setting up a few small tables. Barbecue shop. Rather, it was a barbecue stall. Lin Fan parked the Bugatti Veyron in a public parking lot not far away. He took the flower basket and walked over. "Lil Yi, congratulations on the opening of your new shop," Lin Fan handed over the flower basket. "Look at you," Kai Zhengyi scolded. "Why did you bring something here?" Then he wiped the table and said, "Sit, sit, I'll clean up a little more and let you have a taste of my cooking." Lin Fan did not stand on ceremony and smiled. "Are you going to roast it yourself? Not bad, I've never eaten your cooking before, it seems like I'm in luck today." After being praised by Lin Fan, Kai Zhengyi scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. At this moment, a round-faced woman with an apron around her waist slowly walked over with a plate of meat skewers. "This is my girlfriend Tang Li," Kai Zhengyi introduced. Li, this is Lin Fan from our village, he even brought a flower basket," Kai Zhengyi added. Hearing this, Tang Li was also very happy. She showed her white teeth and said, "Thank you for coming over to support us. Sit down for a while, I'll clean up later." "Do you need my help?" Lin Fan asked. "No need, it's just a few things," Tang Li said. Lin Fan looked at Tang Li's hardworking figure and said, "Zhengyi, when did you find such a good girlfriend? When are you getting married?" "She's a good person," Kai Zhengyi said. "We plan to get married next year." "All right, call me when the time comes," Lin Fan said. After chatting for a while, the preparations for the barbecue stall were almost complete. As the smoke rose, the rich fragrance of meat slowly drifted over. Then Kai Zhengyi served chicken feet, pork skewers and crispy bones to Lin Fan's table. "How do they taste?" asked Kai Zhengyi. Lin Fan gave him a thumbs up and said, "Delicious." At this moment Lin Fan's phone rang. It turned out to be a call from the leader of Jiangbei City, Zhao Yang. "Brother Lin, I've arrived at the place you mentioned, but I don't see any new shop," Zhao Yang asked. When Lin Fan heard that, he turned around and looked toward the road. Soon he saw several Audi cars. Hence, Lin Fan stood up and waved his hand. "I'm at the barbecue shop over here. You can park your car in the public parking lot in front." Zhao Yang, who was sitting in the Audi, also saw Lin Fan. He was stunned for a moment. He did not expect that the shop that Lin Fan mentioned would be a barbecue stall. However, Zhao Yang quickly regained his composure. No matter what shop it was, as long as he could get closer to Lin Fan, it was fine. Zhao Yang parked the car in the public parking lot. Then he brought the captain of the investigation team, the captain of the business team, and the others to the barbecue stall with flower baskets. Immediately, the barbecue stall that was originally filled with the fragrance of meat and oil smoke was filled with the fragrance of flowers. Thank you for your support," Tang Li thanked them profusely and put 2 tables together. Although Kai Zengyi had attended Lin Fan's grandfather's birthday banquet and had seen a large group of people, including Jiao Yang, he was in the middle of grilling right now. Besides, there were too many people at that time, so Kai Zengyi could not remember clearly. Therefore, he did not recognize Jiao Yang. Lin Fan smiled. "Brother Jiao, sit down and eat. My good friend made barbecue. It tastes good." "Haha," Jiao Yang said, "then I'm in luck." Jiao Yang and the other leaders of Jiangbei sat around a small table by the roadside. It had to be said that they were indeed a group of capable people. Jiao Yang and the others had not eaten at a roadside stall for a long time. However, they did not show any disdain at all. On the contrary, they were very free and natural. From time to time, they would comment and praise some of the skewers. Jiao Yang said, "The taste is indeed not bad, especially the chicken feet. They're soft and sticky and the spiciness is moderate. It's delicious. I like the pork skewers. The meat is fatty but not greasy," the captain of the business team said. "The crispy bones are good too," another captain laughed heartily. If people knew that the leaders of Jiangbei City had such a high opinion of a barbecue stall, who knew what kind of expression they would have? Lin Fan smiled. "If it's delicious, then eat more. In the future, take care of the business here." "All right. Definitely," everyone responded. Jiao Yang said, "Thank you so much for Lin Fan's contribution. Let's raise our glasses to Lin Fan." Jiao Yang, the captain of the investigation team, the captain of the commercial team, and the others all raised their glasses. Then they drank it all in one go. "You guys are too polite." Lin Fan drank a cup of wine. Drinking and eating barbecue at the same time, the atmosphere was very harmonious. The sky gradually darkened. Some other customers came to the barbecue stall. In the beginning, Tang Li and Kai Zengyi would go over and chat with them. As time passed, they gradually got busy, and a few drops of sweat seeped out of their foreheads. However, they did not complain about being tired. Instead, their faces were filled with satisfied smiles. At this moment, 4 tattooed men sitting behind Jiao Yang had finished the barbecue on the table. They looked at each other, their faces revealing a hint of ferocity. The bald man among them slapped his hand and shouted, "F***CK." The guests around, as well as Tang Li and Kai Zengyi, who were clearing the table, were all shocked. Tang Li almost dropped the bowl and chopsticks, and Kai Zengyi almost got scalded. Tang Li quickly walked over and looked at the 4 people's fierce expressions. She was a little afraid and said, "May I ask what's the matter? I was eating barbecue here, but I lost my wallet. There's a total of 10,000 yuan in it. What do you think?" the bald man shouted. He lost his wallet. Moreover, there was 10,000 yuan inside. This was obviously impossible. 10,000 yuan was a huge stack of money. An ordinary wallet would not be able to fit it at all. Moreover, this was the era of digital currency. Who would carry so much cash on them? Obviously, this baldy was talking nonsense. Tang Li said in a panic. "Look carefully again, it should be nearby." "Look how C King cleaned up the beer bottles beside me just a moment ago and my wallet went missing." "I think you stole it. Hurry up and hand over your wallet," the bald man shouted. Then the 4 of them fanned out and took a big step toward Tang Li. That appearance, it was as if they would fight Tang Li if she did not hand over the wallet. Tang Li was so frightened that she took a few steps back and almost fell to the ground. 142 Brother Hao, it's this old guy. Kai Zengyi, who was standing not far away, ran over. He was also very afraid as well. However, Kai Zengyi still shielded Tang Li behind him. "Dear customers, there must be some misunderstanding here. We're all honest people. We definitely didn't steal your wallet." After a pause, he said, "Do you want to look for it again? Perhaps it was lost somewhere else. Also, all your expenses today will be on the house. What do you think?" Kai Zengyi knew that these people were not to be trifled with, so he chose to give in. However, the bald man's eyes widened. "You stole my wallet. Do you think you can get away with it just because you offer us a free meal?" he shouted. "What do you take me for? Hurry up and hand over the wallet. Otherwise HMPH. As soon as he finished speaking, the bald man pushed Kai Zhengyi away. Kai Zhengyi took a few steps back and fell on the table not far away. Seeing this, the people who were eating the food around them were afraid that they would be implicated and left one after another. Zhao Yang's face darkened. How could he not understand that the bald man did not lose his wallet? The bald man was just looking for trouble on purpose. His goal was only to get 10,000 yuan. It was not easy for him to meet Lin Fan today and eat at his friend's barbecue stall. In the end, a vicious incident occurred. Where would he put his face as a leader? You said you lost your wallet. Zhao Yang stood up slowly and said coldly, Good, then tell me what color is the wallet, other than 10,000 yuan, what else is there? In fact, it was just as Zhao Yang had expected. The bald man and the others only wanted 10,000 yuan. The bald man did not expect someone to stand up for his victims and shouted, Damn it, I lost my wallet and it's none of your damn business. Did you eat too much sh*t? Zhao Yang's face turned even uglier. He said in a low voice, I'm the leader of Jiangbei. I can interfere with anything that happens in Jiangbei. Also, watch your mouth. Not only were the bald man and the others not frightened, but they also seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. You're the leader of Jiangbei, I'm the leader of the country, go to hell. The bald man sneered and punched Zhao Yang in the face. Bang! 2 streams of blood flowed down Zhao Yang's nostrils. The pain made his eyes wet. What? Leader? Leader, are you okay? The captain of the organization team, the captain of the business team, and the others shouted in shock. Jiangbei's leader had been beaten up. Presumptuous, the captain of the investigation team shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, he punched, kicked, threw, and grabbed the bald man and another short man easily. It had to be said that a person who could become the captain of the investigation team did have a certain level of skill. The remaining 2 thugs saw that the captain was very skilled and that there were several people in his group. The 2 of them knew that they were no match for him, so they took 2 steps back. The bald man lay on the ground, enduring the pain as he dialed his phone and said, Brother Hao, we were beaten up at the newly opened barbecue stall on the east side of Luo Street. The captain of the investigation team used another grappling move and pressed the bald man to the ground. Zhao Yang had stopped bleeding. You're making a call, all right, I want to see how many people I can catch today. When the captain heard this, he quickly took out his phone and said, Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, bring your weapons and head to the east side of Luo Street as fast as you can. Hurry. When the bald man and the others heard this, they suddenly felt a strong sense of unease. Not long after, nearly 30 men with steel pipes and machetes with hair dyed various colors and earrings gathered in the distance. When the bald man and the others saw these people, their worries instantly disappeared. A man with a long beard and long back hair who walked in front shouted, I want to see just which blind guy dares to hit my people. The bald man and the others pointed at the captain and shouted wantonly. Hello, Brother Hao. Brother Hao, it's this guy. Hello, Brother Hao. The man with the slick hair looked in the direction they were pointing at, and his half-narrowed eyes instantly widened. The bald man and the others were only small figures at the bottom of the hierarchy. How could they know the captain of the investigation team? However, the man with the slick hair had seen the world. With just a glance, he recognized the other party's identity. The man with slick hair quickened his pace and arrived in front of the captain. The bald man thought that Brother Hao was going to teach him a lesson. Therefore, he arrogantly shouted at the captain, Old man, weren't you very arrogant just now? Continue. Old man. Insulting the captain of the investigation team in public. How dare he? The man with the slick hair was terrified. He slapped the bald man's face. Then he said in a terrified tone, Captain Deng, I'm sorry, the people below me don't know you and accidentally bumped into you. Captain Deng. Deng Jehu. The captain of Jiangbei City's investigation team. At this moment the bald man also reacted. If he was the captain of the investigation team, then what about the person he had beaten up? When the bald man thought of this, a layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. They bumped into me, Deng Jihu said coldly. They beat up the leader of Jiangbei City in public. What? The man with the slick hair cried out in fear. At the same time, he quickly looked to the side. He saw a man who looked refined but had the aura of a superior was standing at the side with his nose bleeding. Was he not the leader of Jiangbei City, Jiao Yang? Whoosh! His subordinates actually made Jiao Yang bleed from his nose. This. The man with the slick hair only felt the world spin, and the surrounding air seemed to have been sucked dry. His face was pale. Mother of asterisk seeker. The man with the slick hair shouted angrily and kicked the bald man to the ground. Ugh! At this moment 1, 2, 3. A large row of police cars sped over like lightning. Following that, they moved in unison and surrounded the man with the slick hair and the others with weapons in their hands. The subordinates of the man with the slick hair seemed to have been greatly frightened. They fell to the ground one after another, hugging their heads and squatting down, not daring to make any unnecessary movements. Take them all away, Deng Jihu shouted. Jiao Yang wiped the blood off his nose and said, Brother Lin, I'm sorry for making a fool of myself. Lin Fan said, there's trash everywhere, you should go to the hospital for treatment first. All right, I'll find another chance to celebrate with you next time, Jiao Yang nodded. After the police cars made a series of hurried sounds, the entire street became empty again. 143 Personal problem, car show. The next day the sky was clear and the breeze was blowing. It was very comfortable. Lin Fan walked on the winding green path, facing the rising sun as he walked forward slowly. When he turned at an intersection, he happened to meet Counselor Sun Yaodong, whose face was flushed. Lin Fan ha. Sun Yaodong put his hand on Lin Fan's shoulder like a good brother. Don't I have good taste? I already knew that you were outstanding. As expected, you've brought glory to the class again. You even came up with technology like an earthquake prediction device. Not bad, haha. Good taste, outstanding ability, bringing glory to the class. Lin Fan was already used to Counselor Sun's way of praising people. You're considered successful in your career now. It's time to consider your personal problems. Do you like any girls? If you do, you must chase after her boldly. Although Song Jiaxin from our class has a cold temperament, she's still very good-looking. There are also a few good-looking girls in the art school. Unfortunately, my daughter has just started elementary school. If she were older, she would be quite suitable. Lin Fan almost choked. Song Jiaxin art school. Counselor, did you really bring up your daughter who's still in elementary school? The two of them chatted as they walked and soon arrived at the classroom. At this moment, the students in the classroom were enthusiastically discussing New Year's Day. When they noticed Lin Fan walk in, everyone looked toward the door and started discussing. Look, Lin Fan is here. It's Lin Fan from our class. Did he develop the earthquake prediction device? I don't know. At this time, Sun Yaodong walked to the podium. He cleared his throat and said, let's give a round of warm applause to congratulate Lin Fan on his invention of the earthquake prediction device. It's the first in the entire world. The entire hall was immediately filled with warm applause. Everyone looked at Lin Fan with admiration. After Sun Yaodong left, Zhang Jinbao could not help but ask, Brother Lin Fan, you invented the earthquake prediction device. Did Counselor Sun say what kind of reward the school is going to give you? Song Yi and Ma Zhang looked at him curiously. Mr. Sun is going to introduce his daughter to me to be my girlfriend, Lin Fan said with a smile. Does that count? The three roommates were speechless. 4 days passed in the blink of an eye. For the past few days, the red packets he received at 12 p.m. were all cash. His daily life consisted of eating and sleeping. It was plain, relaxed, and comfortable. Ma Zhang was reading a book in the dormitory. Zhang Jinbao was staring at his computer and letting out a wretched laugh from time to time. Lin Fan was casually scrolling through his phone. At this moment, Song Yi walked in quickly and said, I got a few tickets for the auto show. This auto show has the latest models of BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Ferrari, Porsche, and other super luxury cars. Hee hee, my cousin works in Ferrari sales. She can arrange for us to experience driving a Ferrari. Brother, how about it? Do you want to go shopping together? The more Song Yi spoke, the more excited he became. His face was full of smiles. Zhang Jinbao's eyes lit up slightly. He said, "Of course I have to go." "Brother Lin Fan, are you going?" Song Yi asked again. Lin Fan was about to say something. A crisp notification suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding, mission, toss 1,000 gold bars. Spend more than 10 million on cars and you'll be rewarded with one special skill. "I'll go too," Lin Fan nodded. Ma Zhong put down his book and said hesitantly, "I." Song Yi did not give Ma Zhong a chance to answer. He grabbed his shoulder and said, "Those long-legged beautiful women will be in the car show too." Gulp. Ma Zhong could not help but gulp, and his breathing became a little heavy. Then the four of them rode in the Mercedes-Benz G-Class and headed toward the auto show. This year's auto show was located in the exhibition center. This place was already bustling, and with the addition of the Grand Auto Show, it was even more lively. The crowd surged and discussions continued. Zhang Jinbao took a flyer and was fascinated by it. Ma Zhong leaned his head over and his eyes immediately widened as he said, "More than 1.9 million. Eh? Song Yi looked over and said casually, "The new A8 has a hybrid gasoline-electric system and a 4T V8 engine. It's not bad. But when you see the Ferrari in my sister's exhibition later, you'll think it's nothing." At this point, Song Yi's eyes became fiery as if he was about to own a Ferrari. The man with the Ferrari badge on his neck glanced at Ma Zhong and the others with contempt. About 5 minutes later, Lin Fan and the others slowly walked into the auto show venue. There were more people inside than outside. In front of them were some of the more common car exhibitions, such as Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Volkswagen, and so on. Many people walked up to the booth to test drive, inquire about prices, or take photos. It was very lively. The only thing that was different from what they had imagined was that there were no beautiful car models. There were only cars and salespeople. Even so, everyone was still very enthusiastic. Lin Fan and the others walked and looked around. Song Yi would occasionally comment on the cars. The quality of Toyota cars is indeed good, but the appearance is just so-so. The new BMW this time is not bad. The new Mercedes-Benz doesn't seem to be very good. At this moment, a cool Ferrari exhibition not far away gradually appeared in Lin Fan's line of sight. At this moment, there were only two young women in uniforms manning the station. "That's the booth of my cousin's shop," Song Yi said excitedly. As he spoke, Song Yi waved at the taller woman and called out, "Cousin." Song Lu's appearance was a little immature, and she even had a hint of a student's aura. Obviously, she had just started working. When Song Lu saw Song Yi, she was also very happy and said, "Lil Yi." "Cousin, these are my roommates," Song Yi said. "Hello," Zheng Jinbao, Ma Zhong and Lin Fan shouted. "Welcome," Song Lu smiled and said, "Are you guys tired from browsing? Drink some water first." As she spoke, Song Lu handed over 4 bottles of mineral water with a Ferrari logo. Song Yi opened a bottle of water. Then his eyes swept across the cool sports cars on the display booth. "Cousin, can we go and experience it?" Song Yi asked. "Of course, but remember not to scratch the paint," Song Lu reminded. 144 high-grade water, it's ruined. There were 3 classic fiery red supercars in Ferrari's exhibition. In this regard, Zhang Jinbao and Song Yi simply did not have any power to resist. It was as if their entire hearts were completely ignited by the scorching red color. A cool car body, oversized wheels, and black exhaust holes. "Come and take a few photos for me. Close the distance a little." Song Yi and Zhang Jinbao went to the front of the car, to the side of the car, to the back of the car, and inside the car they kept fiddling with the car, their faces filled with excitement. Lin Fan was much calmer. It was because he already owned several super sports cars. However, Lin Fan still had a special feeling about the Ferrari. After all, a Ferrari was the dream of every boy. "How much are these 3 cars?" asked Lin Fan. At this moment, there were no customers at the exhibition. Therefore, Song Lu thought of reviewing the cars' information and introduced the cars to him. The one on the left is a Ferrari 488. It's 3.9T V8 and has 720 horsepower. The selling price is 4.4 million. The one in the middle is a Ferrari 812, 6.5L V12 and 800 horsepower. The selling price is 5.3 million. The one on the right is a Ferrari F8, 3.9T V8 and has 720 horsepower. The selling price is 3.5 million. At this moment, a series of dull footsteps came from not far away. A man in a white shirt and a woman with an LV bag and a big diamond ring walked over slowly. The man in the shirt said, "This is Ferrari's latest model, the 488. It has a fashionable appearance and luxurious interior. The price is 4,400,000. It's most suitable for a successful beauty like you." The noblewoman walked forward as if she wanted to experience it. However, she realized that Zhang Jinbao and Song Yi, who were wearing ordinary clothes, were touching all the things in the car. Instantly, the lady's face, which was covered in makeup, scrunched up into a ball. She said, "I don't think there's anything good about this car." After saying that, she turned around and left. Ms. Zhu," the man in the shirt hurriedly called out. However, the noblewoman did not respond at all. When the man in the shirt saw this, he coldly glanced at Zhang Jinbao, Song Yi, and the others who were still posing and taking photos. They were holding Ferrari mineral water in their hands. His face was filled with anger. Then he took 2 steps forward and waved his hand in the distance. "Song Lu, Leng Yuikin, come here." Song Lu and the other salesperson ran over. "Hello, Supervisor Zhang," the two of them greeted him in a very respectful tone. They were polite to Supervisor Zhang, but Supervisor Zhang did not give them a good look. On the contrary, Supervisor Zhang's expression turned stiff as he berated, "Ferrari is a world-famous super sports car brand. The reason why we paid such a huge price to display our cars here is serve and attract more high-quality customers. You're using your identity as a salesperson to distribute the company's premium drinking water at will or even allow people to take photos and rub against the Ferrari randomly. What if the cars get dirty? What if the paint is damaged? What should we do then? Some people want to become full-time employees as soon as possible. If you're like this, don't even think about becoming a permanent employee of Ferrari for the rest of your life." Supervisor Zhang had a good memory. He recognized Song Yi and the others at a glance. Song Lu's pretty face flushed red. She understood that Supervisor Zhang was talking about her and felt a little wronged. Supervisor Zhang was right. The company had indeed spent a lot of money on the exhibition. However, the company had prepared a lot of so-called high-grade drinking water. Yesterday, everyone who visited the booth was given a bottle. After all, this was also a good opportunity to advertise. She just gave a bottle to her cousin and his friends today, but it was such a big deal. As for randomly taking pictures and touching the cars, was an auto show not for people to take photos and try the cars out. Although Song Lu felt wronged, she still said in a low voice, "I'm sorry, Supervisor Zhang." Supervisor Zhang's voice was very loud. Lin Fan, Song Yi, Zhang Jinbao, and Ma Zhang heard everything. Lin Fan frowned slightly, his expression turning ugly. At this moment, footsteps could be heard from afar. A middle-aged man in a black suit and a young man in a gray t-shirt strolled over. The two of them chatted and laughed. The young man in the gray t-shirt had a relaxed expression on his face, while the middle-aged man in the black suit had a fawning expression on his face. When Supervisor Zhang saw the two of them, he changed his previous sternness and stuck close to them like a pug. He said, "Manager Wang, young Master Tan, hello. How's the situation today?" Manager Wang asked casually. "Many people came to visit our exhibition. There were also many internet celebrities who came to do a live broadcast just now. Our exhibition is very popular," Supervisor Zhang hurriedly said. "Eh?" Manager Wang nodded and did not say anything else. Tan Shengyu, who was beside him, swept his gaze across the exhibition. In the next moment his eyes lit up slightly. He quickly walked up and said happily, "Brother Lin Fan, I didn't expect to meet you here." Lin Fan thought for a moment and quickly remembered that he had seen him when he was racing on the mountain road. Later on, he also came to Song Jiaxin's birthday. However, he had never spoken much to him, so he was not familiar with him. Lin Fan nodded, yeah. In contrast to Lin Fan's unfamiliarity, Tan Shengyu was filled with admiration for Lin Fan. He had excellent racing skills, and his chess skills were equally extraordinary. Even the big shots Sun Luguo and Liu Yuheng as well as Song Jiaxin were very polite to Lin Fan. Manager Wang, who was behind Lin Fan, walked up to him. He sized Lin Fan up and asked carefully, "Young Master Tan, this is—" "Eh? Oh, Manager Wang, this is Brother Lin Fan. He's an expert at racing. His drifting technique is so fast. Young Master Sun and Young Master Liu are no match for Brother Lin Fan," Tan Shengyu said. Tan Shengyu did not mention Sun Luguo's and Liu Yuheng's names. However, Manager Wang had already guessed their identities. Young Master Sun's and Young Master Liu's driving skills are both outstanding, Manager Wang praised. I didn't expect Brother Lin Fan to be so powerful, it's really amazing. Could it be that Brother Lin Fan is a professional racer? Manager Wang asked carefully. He was trying to find out Lin Fan's identity. However, Tan Shengyu did not seem to notice it. How can a professional racer be inferior to Brother Fan? He asked seriously. Then Tan Shengyu asked, Brother Lin Fan, are you interested in getting a Ferrari? This is Manager Wang, the general agent of Ferrari in Jiangbei. He has a way to get you any Ferrari model. By the way, Manager Wang helped Sister Jiaxin with her SB90. Lin Fan said calmly, I was a little interested. However, Supervisor Zhang said that I drank his premium water and is worried that I'll damage the Ferrari. How could I be interested in such an expensive Ferrari? Tan Shengyu raised his brows and looked in the direction that Lin Fan was pointing at. His face turned cold. Tan Shengyu was not a fool. On the contrary, he was smarter than the average person, and he was better at analyzing and observing. Even though Tan Shengyu had only met Lin Fan twice, he had a deep impression of Lin Fan. On one hand, it was because Lin Fan's racing skills were good. On the other hand, it was because Song Jiaxin, Liu Zhenyu, and Sun Luguo were very close to Lin Fan. Song Jiaxin was a famous figure in the circle, and few people caught her eye. P alpha Pedi alpha Nanua 1 SOM Liu Zhenyu was famous for his fiery temper. He often quarreled with Sun Luguo. However, he treated Lin Fan very well. Sun Luguo always had the appearance of a polite gentleman. He had a peaceful relationship with everyone, but he always maintained a sense of distance. However, Sun Luguo often tried to get closer to Lin Fan. All of this meant that Lin Fan was worth befriending. Today, he finally had a chance. Naturally, Tan Shengyu did not want to miss it. He did not expect a small supervisor to say that Lin Fan drank high-grade water and would ruin the Ferrari. This was simply, he was a bastard. So a Ferrari is that expensive? Tan Shengyu asked coldly. It seems like I should tell Sister Jiaxin, Young Master Sun, Young Master Liu, and the others not to get Ferraris in the future. Manager Wang, who was next to him, was shocked and quickly said, Young Master Tan, Brother Lin Fan, there must be a misunderstanding here. I'll get Zhang Heibin to come over and apologize. Ferrari was an expensive supercar brand. Ordinary people could not afford it at all. They would choose an economical family car. Successful businessmen would not buy them either. They would rather take a commercial car that was mature and steady. The main buyers of Ferraris were rich young masters like Tan Shengyu who loved supercars. If these rich young masters did not buy Ferraris, then Manager Wang's shop would not be far from closing down. Thinking of this, Manager Wang quickly turned around and waved while shouting, Zhang Heibin, how exactly are you managing the service? Hurry up and apologize to Brother Lin Fan. In fact, when Zhang Heibin saw Tan Shengyu and Lin Fan chatting casually, he was already shocked. At this moment, he did not dare to hesitate when he heard Manager Wang call him. He quickly ran up and said in a panic, Brother Lin Fan, didn't I just say that you weren't you talking about my friend? Furthermore, you were prepared to make my friend's cousin unable to become a full-time employee. No, Lin Fan said calmly. Lin Fan did not like to bully people, but he hated being bullied even more. Since the other party had done it, he had to pay the price. Zhang Heibin's entire body was trembling, and his forehead was covered in sweat. He opened his mouth, wanting to explain something. However, there was no explanation at all. "I'm also Brother Lin Fan's friend," Tan Shengyu said. "In that case, I can't get too close to the Ferrari. After all, I really don't know what to do if it's ruined." Manager Wang was extremely anxious. He understood that he had to satisfy Lin Fan and Tan Shengyu today. Otherwise, it would be troublesome in the future. "Zhang Heibin," Manager Wang shouted, "is this how you do things behind my back, bastard? From now on, you're no longer an employee of Jiangbei Ferrari." He was fired. Zhang Heibin's face instantly turned pale. As the Ferrari was a supercar brand, there were very few customers every day, and the work was very leisurely. However, the treatment was not bad at all. Zhang Heibin often used to brag about his work in front of his relatives and friends. Now he could not do it anymore. It would be fine if he resigned. However, he was fired. These were two completely different natures. It could be said that Zhang Heibin could no longer stay in the luxury car industry in the future. Manager Wang, please give me another chance. Brother Lin Fan, young Master Tan, please. Zhang Heibin begged, but it was useless. Then he ran to Song Lu and said, "Song Lu, it was my fault just now. Please spare me this once. If I get fired, I really won't be able to live in the future." Song Lu saw how pitiful he was and her heart softened. She said, Lin Fan, he already knows his mistake, why don't we just forget about it?" Lin Fan, who had been ignoring Zhang Heibin, finally raised his eyes and said, "Since you've pleaded for leniency, then this matter is over. But I hope you can remember this, Mr. Zhang. I don't want similar things to happen again, otherwise, I'm afraid things won't be resolved so easily." When Zhang Heibin heard this, he was ecstatic and said, thank you, I promise that this will never happen again." The atmosphere immediately eased up. "Sister Song Lu, I don't think anyone has ordered these 3 Ferraris, right?" asked Lin Fan. "Yes, no one has booked them yet," Song Lu said. "Alright, I'll buy these 3 cars," Lin Fan said. Song Lu was stunned. Lin Fan continued, "The Ferrari 488 is 4.4 million, the Ferrari 812 is 5.3 million, and the Ferrari F8 is 3.5 million. That's a total of 13.2 million. I'll pay by card." After saying that, Lin Fan took out a bank card. Ugh. He was buying a sports car, furthermore, he was buying 3 of them at once. Song Lu had never seen such a scene before. She was completely at a loss. Manager Wang was the first to react. He was also shocked by Lin Fan's actions. He casually bought 3 Ferraris. Even the young masters of ordinary rich families did not have such a large amount of money. No wonder Tan Shengyu was so polite to Lin Fan. It was not just because Lin Fan's driving skills were good. Lin Fan's identity was probably just as impressive. Manager Wang quickly said, "Brother Lin Fan is buying cars from us because he thinks highly of us. Brother Lin Fan, you just have to pay 13 million and we'll give you the accessories free of charge too." When buying a Ferrari, many accessories needed to be matched. Now they were given away for free and there was a discount of 200,000 yuan. It was indeed very rare. Lin Fan nodded his head nonchalantly. Beep. After a soft sound came from the machine, 13 million yuan was successfully swiped. At the same time, a crisp voice rang out in Lin Fan's mind. "Ding, do you want to use the 10x spending rebate card?" Yes, Lin Fan thought to himself. Then Lin Fan's phone vibrated. "Notice from Merchant Bank, 130,000. 0 yuan has been deposited into your account." At this point, Lin Fan's liquid funds had reached 350 million yuan. At the same time, 1,300 unclaimed red packets appeared on his phone. Ding, mission completed, toss 1,000 gold bars. You're rewarded with expert-level painting skills for spending more than 10 million on cars. Expert-level painting skills, excellent painting ability. Your paintings are realistic, elegant, and charming. Expert-level painting skills. It was a pretty good ability. He bought 3 Ferraris, spent 13 million, and earned 130 million. After that, he obtained expert-level painting skills and 1,300 red packets. Lin Fan nodded his head slightly. He was pretty satisfied with this trip. 146. This isn't too good, my luck is great. Tan Shengyu was the son of a wealthy family. However, even he could not help but give Lin Fan a thumbs up when he saw Lin Fan buying 3 Ferraris in one go. As expected of brother Lin Fan, he's too generous. Then he looked at Vacherin Constantin on his wrist and said, "It's almost time for dinner. Brother Lin Fan, it's rare to meet you today. I know a good club nearby. How about we have a meal and relax?" Tan Shengyu had helped Lin Fan out. Furthermore, Lin Fan was a little hungry, so it was not a big deal to have a meal together. Hence Lin Fan nodded his head and said, "All right." "Brother Lin Fan, young Master Tan, can I go with you?" Manager Wang asked carefully. Tan Shengyu did not reply. Instead, he looked at Lin Fan. Clearly, he was letting Lin Fan decide. Lin Fan nodded his head nonchalantly and said, "Let's go together." After all, Zhang Heibin's matter had already passed and Manager Wang had handled it well. There was no need to keep brooding over it. "All right, thank you, brother Lin Fan, thank you, young Master Tan," Manager Wang said happily. Then Lin Fan drove the Mercedes-Benz G-Class and took Song Yi, Ma Zhang, Zhang Jinbao and Song Lu out. "Brother Lin Fan, thank you," Song Yi said seriously. Lin Fan understood that he was thanking him for helping Song Lu teach Supervisor Zhang a lesson. "This is just a small matter, there's no need to thank me," Lin Fan waved his hand. Ma Zhang whispered, "Jinbao, young Master Tan said we're going to the clubhouse. This isn't that bad." After saying that, he could not help but squirm. Zhang Jinbao chuckled, "Oh, I almost forgot that you're still a little boy, however, little boys have to grow up." When Ma Zhang heard this, he squirmed even more violently, his face filled with a conflicted expression. At this moment, Song Lu, who had been in a daze, said, Lin Fan, isn't it too much for you to buy 3 Ferraris at once? Why don't I think of a way to get Manager Wang to refund you 2 cars? Lin Fan smiled, "It's fine, they were cheap so I bought a few more, I'll drive them." Song Lu was speechless. Song Yu was speechless. Zhang Jinbao was speechless. Ma Zhang was speechless. Everyone was speechless. How could he call a Ferrari that cost a few million a cheap car? What about Toyota and Volkswagen? Were they toy cars? Not long after, everyone arrived at AC Clubhouse. 2 tall beauties bent down and said in a sweet voice, "Welcome to AC Clubhouse." AC Clubhouse was 5 stories high and looked extremely empty. There were also diamond chandeliers, it was full of luxuries. Then the group arrived at the private room that they had booked earlier. Australian lobster, golden pigeon, first-grade plum ginseng, crystal egg yolk roll, many delicacies were neatly placed on the table. Manager Wang opened a bottle of Fashion Moutai and poured a large glass. He said, "Brother Lin Fan, thank you for letting me have a meal with you. Here's a toast." As soon as he finished speaking, he drank the contents of the glass in one gulp. The atmosphere in the private room became even more lively after the glass of wine was drunk. Everyone enjoyed the meal. Then, under the service staff's guidance, everyone took a shower and changed into bathrobes. Ma Zhang was in the bathroom squirming and saying, "Jinbao, isn't this bad?" "What's wrong with this?" Zhang Jinbao laughed. "In a while you'll be so happy that you'll cry out." After saying that, he took the lead and walked out. Ma Zhang gritted his teeth and followed him out. In the next moment, a dozen beautiful women dressed in traditional clothing appeared in front of them. "Greetings, young master," they bowed slightly and said in unison. Zhang Jinbao and the others could not help but swallow their saliva. They lay down under the arrangement of the beautiful women. As the melodious music that sounded like spring water rang out, wisps of white fog immediately filled the surroundings, making them feel as if they were in paradise. 2 beautiful women bent over and gently massaged their hands and feet. There was nothing better than this. In the blink of an eye, the sky turned dark. Only then did everyone walk out of AC Clubhouse in a relaxed manner. Ding, hidden mission completed, enjoy life, reward 1 silver packet. Lin Fan's face revealed a strange look. Was he so lucky today? He actually completed 2 missions in a row. Lucky. Thinking of this, Lin Fan sent Zhang Jinbao and the others to Jiangbei University and went straight to Coiling Dragon Villa. He wanted to use his luck to see what he could get from the red packet today. Do you wish to open one silver packet? Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 yuan critical hit card. 1 yuan critical hit card. After spending 1 yuan, you'll receive a reward of 100 million yuan. 100 million yuan reward with 1 yuan. It directly increased by 100 million times. When Lin Fan saw this, his lips curled up. Then his gaze fell on the phone screen. Do you wish to open 1,300 red packets? Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 500 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 5% of LV shares. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 1 Beijia building. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained professional cello skills. Play the cello with ease and show off your extraordinary charm. Ding, congratulations, you've received a McDonnell Douglas MD-902 private jet. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 100% hidden weapon skill. Within 100 meters, you'll have perfect accuracy in everything you throw. You'll make people's eyes light up. From the 1,300 red packets, Lin Fan received a total of 830,111 yuan. The MD-902 private jet was worth about 50 million yuan. The Beijia building was an office building in the center of Jiangbei City. It was worth more than 1 billion yuan. LV was a luxury brand with a market value of more than trillions. 5% of the shares were worth nearly 50 billion. In other words, Lin Fan earned more than 50 billion from these 1,300 red packets. In addition, he also obtained 2 skills. It was definitely a great harvest. Today's luck was indeed very good. Even Lin Fan could not help but smile. 147 Research and Development Grand Prize, 10 million. The next day the sky was clear. It was rare for Lin Fan to lie alone on the spacious bed. He finally opened his eyes. Lin Fan casually looked at his phone. At this moment, as usual, a text message appeared on the screen. Notice from Merchant Bank, 1,720,000 yuan has been deposited into your account. Regarding this, Lin Fan did not care at all. He went through his phone again, got up, washed up, and headed outside. As soon as he opened the door, he saw a cool-looking aircraft. Lin Fan stopped and looked around for a while. Then, he drove the Koenigsegg CCR to a restaurant not far away and ordered the dumplings, sea cucumber udon noodles, and bird's nest porridge. It cost 900 yuan. He had a relatively simple breakfast. After Lin Fan walked out of the restaurant, he bought a pack of tissues from the supermarket. You've spent 1 yuan. Do you want to use the 1 yuan critical hit card? Yes. Not long after, his phone vibrated slightly. Notice from Merchant Bank, 100 million yuan has been deposited into your account. Having earned so much early in the morning, Lin Fan couldn't help but smile. At this point, his cash flow had reached 450 million. Jiangbei University. It was teacher Tianxin's class this morning. The entire classroom was packed with people early in the morning. Luckily, Song Yi and the others helped Lin Fan reserve a seat. It was as if time would automatically accelerate during teacher Tianxin's class. After a while, the bell rang. Under the reluctant gazes of the students, teacher Tianxin put down the chalk and said, "Class dismissed. Lin Fan, come here for a moment." Therefore, other than reluctance, there was also a hint of jealousy in the eyes of the students. Outside the corridor, Lin Fan chuckled. Do you want to go to the office to discuss the questions? Hu Tian seemed to have thought of something. Her pretty face blushed slightly as she said, Dean Hu wants you to go to his office. Oh, Lin Fan replied casually. Come to my house tonight to discuss the topic, Hu Tian whispered again. Lin Fan smiled, all right. At this moment in the dean's office, Hu Chuan was drinking tea leisurely, his face glowing. Creak. When the door opened, Hu Chuan quickly stood up. Lin Fan, you're here? Sit, sit. Would you like some tea? This is Da Hong Pao from Wui Mountain. Try it and see how it tastes. Lin Fan picked up the teacup and slowly poured it into his mouth. It tasted sweet and had an endless aftertaste. It was indeed a good tea. Director Hu, why did you call me here? Lin Fan asked. Hu Chuan explained, oh, the earthquake prediction device you invented won a National Research and Development Award as well as a 10 million yuan bonus. Sign here, the bonus should be transferred to your account in the next 2 days. As Hu Chuan spoke, he handed over the certificate and documents. A 10 million yuan bonus was definitely extremely rare. Under normal circumstances, the school and the officials would definitely report and publicize it. However, the school and the officials knew that Lin Fan did not like being interviewed. Therefore, this step was omitted. Oh, Lin Fan replied calmly, just sign it right. Hu Chuan was stunned. This was a National Research and Development Award and a 10 million yuan bonus. Needless to say, the National Research and Development Award was a great honor. If an ordinary person were to get that much money, they would definitely be ecstatic. However, Lin Fan was actually so calm. What Hu Chuan did not know was that Lin Fan could earn more than 1 million yuan every day. As for 10 million, he could get it in a few days. Moreover, he had just earned 100 million yuan after spending 1 yuan on a pack of tissues in the morning. Now that he had received another 10 million, there was indeed no need to be too happy. After a while, Hu Chuan slowly came back to his senses and praised inwardly, as expected of the person who solved Zhou's conjecture, the twin prime number conjecture, and invented the earthquake prediction device. Money is nothing to him. At this moment, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket vibrated. 12 p.m. The red packets were here. Hence, Lin Fan stopped signing and quickly clicked on the red packets. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Hu Chuan saw that Lin Fan was focused on his phone and could not help but look at him curiously. He happened to see Lin Fan receiving the 3 yuan red packet seriously. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He was calm in the face of the 10 million. It was just a few yuan, but he was so serious. Hu Chuan did not know what to say. A minute later, Lin Fan put away his phone and picked up the pen again. He quickly signed his name on the document. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. As soon as he finished speaking, he casually took the certificate and walked out. Brother Lin Fan, why did teacher Tianchen look for you? Song Yi asked as soon as he returned to the dormitory. Zhang Jinbo and Ma Zhang also cast questioning gazes at him. Lin Fan said, oh, they gave me a National Research and Development Award and a 10 million yuan bonus. 10 million yuan. Silence. The entire dormitory suddenly fell silent. After a long time, Zhang Jinbao muttered, is it too late for me to study hard now? Song Yi and Ma Zhang did not say anything, they just silently picked up a book and quickly flipped through it. The old professor had a class in the afternoon. Even though Lin Fan had a good rest yesterday, he quickly fell asleep after the old professor spoke for a while. When Lin Fan opened his eyes, school was over. At this moment, the phone in his pocket rang. Lin Fan looked at the caller ID. It was the leader of Jiangbei, Jiao Yang. Brother Lin Fan, congratulations on winning the National R&D Award. Our team in Jiangbei would like to treat you to a meal to celebrate. Are you free later? Jiao Yang's clear voice came from the other end of the line. Jiao Yang wanted to treat Lin Fan to a meal last time, but his good friend Kai Zhengyi had just opened his barbecue stall. Thus, Jiao Yang brought a group of officials over to support them. In the end, Jiao Yang's nose was broken by a gangster. However, no one dared to find fault with Kai Zhengyi's barbecue stall. At the same time, the business became extremely prosperous. From this point of view, Lin Fan should thank Jiao Yang. All right, thank you, Brother Jiao, Lin Fan replied. Jiao Yang heard Lin Fan agree and said happily, why are you being so polite? Besides, we should thank you on behalf of Jiangbei and Hua Nation. After some small talk, Lin Fan hung up. Jiangbei Hotel. As usual. People came and went, and it was extremely lively. Audi cars were parked in rows at the entrance. Boom! Lin Fan's Koenigsegg CCR seemed a little different. Welcome! Two beautiful women in traditional dresses stood at the door and called out sweetly. Lin Fan nodded slightly as a form of greeting. Then his gaze fell on a middle-aged woman in a light blue dress and a young man with a straight back. "Aunt Ching, Brother Yang," Lin Fan shouted. When Aunt Ching and Brother Yang heard this, they slowly turned around and said in surprise, "Lil Fan." Aunt Ching's full name was Zhang Tianqing. Brother Yang was her son Zhang Yang. They used to live on 4th Street in Qing City and were neighbors of Lin Fan's family. At that time, the two families were very close and they took good care of Lin Fan. However, after they moved, they never met again. Unexpectedly, Lin Fan met them here today. The atmosphere was extremely relaxed when old friends met, and everyone was very happy. "Lil Fan, are you here to play?" asked Zhang Tianqing. "I'm studying at Jiangbei University," said Lin Fan. "Jiangbei University? That's a top university. I told you before that you would definitely get into a good university and I was right. Good job," Zhang Tianqing praised. How could Lin Fan get into a good university? He did not take the college entrance examination at all. The reason why he was able to enter Jiangbei University was that he had solved Zhou's conjecture and was accepted by Jiangbei University as an exception. If Lin Fan wanted to, he could even become a professor at Jiangbei University, let alone study there. However, Lin Fan did not explain further. "Brother Yang, are you back from the army?" he asked. Yes, Zhang Yang nodded. He had always been a man of few words. After becoming a soldier, he had become even less talkative. Lin Fan was used to it. "Brother Yang, you've been a sergeant for a long time, right? It's a pity to come back now." Zhang Yang's face revealed a look of nostalgia. "Brother Yang is already in his 30s, Zhang Tianqing said. "He can't be a soldier forever. If he comes back earlier, he can still start a family." It just so happens that Brother Yang's cousin knows the head of the Commerce Department. "I'm treating him to a meal today so that he can help arrange for a job transfer," he said after a pause. At this moment, a woman in a yellow dress and a man with a big belly walked over. "Aunt, why are you guys standing here? Section Chief Liang and I have been waiting for a long time," the woman in the yellow dress scolded. "Oh, I met my neighbor's son and chatted with him," Zhang Tianqing said apologetically. "Lil Fan, this is Brother Yang's cousin, Zhang Ru. This is Section Chief Liang," Zhang Tianqing introduced. Lin Fan nodded at the two of them. After all, Lin Fan was not familiar with them. Lin Fan did not like fake pleasantries. However, this action made Section Chief Liang frown. He was a section chief, but this young man only nodded and did not even know how to bow to greet him. "Brother Yang, where do you want to transfer to?" asked Lin Fan. "It's best if I can get into the investigation team," Zhang Yang said truthfully. Section Chief Liang, who was beside him, lectured him in a superior tone. "This isn't the army. You can't just go to any department you want after transferring. It depends on the specific vacancy." After all, he was just a small section chief. He did not have the ability to arrange for Zhang Yang to enter a specific position. Even if he had the ability, it would probably take a lot of effort. Section Chief Liang did not want to put in so much effort. Even when Lin Fan was faced with Zhou's conjecture and the twin prime number conjecture, he could still answer them. He had a strong analytical and logical mind, so how could he not understand what Section Chief Liang meant? "If Brother Yang wants to go into the investigation team, I can help think of a way." Section Chief Liang frowned even more. He had just said that he could not go to any department he wanted. In the end, this young man immediately said that he could think of a way. Did this not mean that he was inferior to a young man like him? It was simply a slap in the face. Since he has a way to transfer you to a suitable department, then you can ask him for help directly, Section Chief Liang said coldly. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave. "Section Chief Liang, don't be angry," Zhang Ru said. "He's just a kid, don't take it to heart." Section Chief Liang grunted and said, "Children shouldn't talk nonsense, they lack discipline." Lin Fan's temper was rising as this man kept throwing tantrums. "You don't have much ability, but your tone is quite big." "What are you talking about?" Zhang Ru's face changed. "Quickly apologize to Section Chief Liang." "Apologize? Why should I apologize? I'm just telling the truth." Zhang Tianqing looked troubled. On one side were the children. On the other hand, this matter had to do with her son's work. Lin Fan could tell that she was in a difficult position and said, "Aunt Tianqing, don't worry, leave Brother Yang's matter to me." All right, in that case it seems that I'm no longer needed here." Section Chief Liang's expression was extremely ugly. He turned around and strode away. "Aunt, I asked Section Chief Liang to help Brother Yang find a job. Is this how you treat him?" Zhang Ru said angrily. Without waiting for Zhang Tianqing to reply, she quickly chased after Section Chief Liang and said, "Section Chief Liang, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked you to help my relative. Please don't be angry, it won't be good if you're angry. I'll drink 3 big glasses of wine later to apologize to you." After Zhang Ru said all that, Section Chief Liang's anger eased a little and his footsteps gradually slowed down. At this moment, a series of footsteps could be heard from afar. Then, a large group of men and women in white shirts walked in quickly. When Section Chief Liang saw them, his eyes widened. His immediate superior, the captain of the Commerce Department, Kai Bo. Captain of the Investigation Department, Deng Jihu. Captain of the Traffic Department, Pan Hua. The leader of Jiangbei, Jiao Yang. They all came to Jiangbei Hotel. Gradually, Section Chief Liang realized that they were walking in his direction. Immediately, Section Chief Liang became extremely excited. Although he knew that these leaders were not here for him, it was not a bad thing to greet them when they passed by and get to know them. Finally, Jiao Yang and the others walked up to Section Chief Liang. Section Chief Liang quickly bent over and said with the brightest smile of his life, "Hello, leaders." However, Jiao Yang and the others did not seem to hear him and walked past him. In the end, everyone stopped in front of Lin Fan. "Brother Lin, we invited you to a meal but you arrived before us. We're really sorry." Jiao Yang extended his hand. Lin Fan smiled casually, "I've only been here for a while." Section Chief Liang saw everything. He was completely dumbfounded. What was going on? What was going on? Jiao Yang shook hands with the young man and said he was going to treat him to a meal. The captain of the investigation department, the captain of the traffic department, and everyone else were so respectful to him. What was going on? At this moment, Lin Fan's gaze landed on Section Chief Liang. He smiled and said, "Moreover, before you came, Section Chief Liang had already greeted me." Oh. Immediately, Jiao Yang and the rest of the team leaders turned to look at Section Chief Liang. Swoosh. In an instant, Section Chief Liang's entire face turned pale, and a thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. He stammered, "Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin, I was blind just now, I'm sorry." 149 Help, shocking. Jiao Yang and the others were not fools. On the contrary, they were smarter than the average person. How could they not understand that this Section Chief Liang had not greeted Lin Fan at all? He had completely offended Lin Fan. Jiao Yang did not know Section Chief Liang, but his face was filled with anger. Today he had finally managed to invite Lin Fan for a meal. However, he was disturbed just like that. Kai Bo, the leader of the Commerce Department, was very clear about Lin Fan's terrifying identity. At the same time, he knew how high Lin Fan was in Jiao Yang's heart. Now his section chief had offended Lin Fan. What a bastard! Liang Jian. Kai Bo was shocked and angry. What the hell did you do? Liang Jian bent even lower, his body trembling, causing large beads of sweat to roll down the ground. Kai Bo became even angrier when he saw that he did not say anything. Liang Jian, if you can't satisfy Mr. Lin today, you can get lost tomorrow. Liang Jian's body went limp and he almost fell to the ground. Snot and tears flowed down his face. Mr. Lin, I'm sorry. Lin Fan looked at his pitiful appearance and did not have the mood to fuss over it. He said, don't always think you're the best in the world in the future. Otherwise, next time the issue might not be resolved by just an apology. Yes, thank you, Mr. Lin, Liang Jian hurriedly said. Zhang Ru, who was standing next to him, was completely dumbfounded. Why was Section Chief Liang suddenly so polite to Lin Fan? Lin Fan ignored Zhang Ru and introduced Zhang Tianqing to the leaders. Aunt Tianqing, this is the leader of Jiangbei City, Jiao Yang. Boom! These words echoed in the ears of Zhang Ru, Zhang Tianqing, and the others like thunder. The leader of Jiangbei City. This was a big shot. He had actually appeared in front of them. Moreover, he had taken the initiative to shake hands with Lin Fan and called him brother. No wonder Section Chief Liang kept apologizing to Lin Fan. Hello, Madam Tianqing, Zhao Yang extended his hand. Ah, hello, leader. Zhang Tianqing was stunned for a moment before she said excitedly. She had never thought that she would have the chance to meet the leader of Jiangbei City with her own eyes. She could even shake hands with him. Lin Fan continued, this is Aunt Tianqing's son, Zhang Yang. He became a sergeant a few years ago. He wants to transfer to the investigation team in Jiangbei City. Is there a suitable position? My Yang has also received second-class and third-class merits, Zhang Tianqing hurriedly said. Zhang Tianqing was terrified in front of Jiao Yang and the others. However, out of concern for her son, she could not help but speak up. The soldiers have sacrificed a lot of blood and sweat for the stability of the country, Jiao Yang said seriously. It's only right that we provide them with employment opportunities. Deng Jihu, who was standing at the side, said, Madam Tianqing, Zhang Yang, nice to meet you. I'm Deng Jihu, the captain of Jiangbei City's investigation department. Leader Jiao is right, this is what we should do. Moreover, Zhang Yang is so outstanding. Deng Jihu paused for a moment before continuing. There's a vacant position for the captain of the investigation team in the Changsheng district of Jiangbei. If Zhang Yang doesn't mind, he can take up this position. The captain of the investigation team in Changsheng district. One had to know many people worked hard for their entire lives, but they might not be able to become a district investigation team leader. Moreover, Changsheng district was the main city of Jiangbei. Zhang Tianqing had asked Section Chief Liang for help today. If Zhang Yang could be the team leader of a certain street, she would be extremely grateful. Now, he could become the captain of Changsheng district's investigation team. Zhang Tianqing's face was filled with surprise. Commander Deng, I've never been an investigator before. If I become the captain of Changsheng district's investigation team, Zhang Yang said hesitantly. Deng Jihu did not wait for him to finish and directly said, in the past, you were able to lead so many soldiers in the army and manage them well. I believe that you definitely won't have problems with a small district investigation team. You don't have to be humble. Zhang Yang looked at Deng Jihu's bright eyes and straightened his back. He said solemnly, thank you, Captain Deng, I won't let you down. Haha, I should be the one thanking you for accepting my invitation, because in this way we will have an outstanding captain in the Changsheng district of Jiangbei, Deng Jihu laughed heartily. The atmosphere immediately became relaxed. Lin Fan smiled. Well then, to celebrate the fact that Changsheng district will soon have an outstanding captain, Captain Deng, you have to drink with me later. When Deng Jihu heard this, his entire face was filled with joy. He felt that arranging for Zhang Yang to be the captain of the investigation team was one of the best things he had done in his life. Zhao Yang even looked at Deng Jihu with jealousy. Come, let's go to the private room and have a good drink, he said at the right time. Then Lin Fan pulled Zhang Tianqing and Zhang Yang to the luxurious room 888. Under Jiao Yang and the rest's strong request, Lin Fan sat at the innermost seat. Regarding this, Lin Fan did not reject it too much. In his opinion, no matter where he sat, it was just eating. Jiangbei Hotel was obviously prepared. Not long after everyone entered, delicious food was served one after another. First of all, congratulations to Brother Lin for winning the National Research and Development Award, Jiao Yang said. I suggest that everyone toast to Brother Lin. Jiao Yang raised his glass. Instantly, everyone raised their wine glasses and downed them in one gulp. Thank you, everyone, said Lin Fan. He drank a glass of wine. The atmosphere in the private room became even more lively. Lin Fan poured himself another glass of wine and said, Captain Deng, let me toast you. The first toast was to him. Deng Jihu stood up excitedly and said, Mr. Lin, I should be the one to toast you. As soon as he finished speaking, he deliberately placed the wine glass very low and drank it in one gulp. The gathering lasted for nearly 3 hours before it slowly ended. Zhang Tianqing, who never drank alcohol, drank a big glass today. At this moment her face was burning. Lil Fan, Leader Jiao said you won the National Research and Development Award, Zhang Tianqing asked as she walked out of the hotel. Yeah, I invented an earthquake prediction device, Lin Fan said. That's why the country gave me an award. What, you invented an earthquake prediction device? Zhang Tianqing shouted in surprise, and the smell of alcohol on her body dissipated a little. Previously, Zhang Tianqing had seen the news about the earthquake prediction device. At that time, she was still talking about the inventor of the earthquake prediction device having the same name as the child she used to know in the neighborhood. Unexpectedly, they were actually the same person. 150 pretty lucky gifts. After Lin Fan parted ways with everyone, he headed straight for Hu Tian's house. Hu Tian opened the door after the crisp doorbell rang. At school today, Hu Tian was wearing a white shirt and black trousers. She looked dignified and capable, exuding a unique aura of a teacher. At home, she changed into a set of loose, thin home clothes that showed off her fair skin and curvaceous figure. She gave off the feeling of a newlywed bride waiting for her husband. Lin Fan's breathing grew heavier. Come to my room, Hu Tian said. All right, Lin Fan said happily. However, when he entered the room, Lin Fan was stunned. There was a large stack of draft paper in the room. All kinds of complicated calculations were written on them. You're in the midst of answering math questions, Lin Fan was stunned. The corners of Hu Tian's lips curled up slightly. Didn't I ask you to come to my house to discuss the topic at school today? Yes, that's right, Lin Fan said awkwardly. Lin Fan looked at the questions for a while, then picked up a pen and started writing quickly. Suddenly, a hurried and rhythmic knocking sound rang out in the dark room, like a pleasant piece of music. Hu Tian looked at Lin Fan's focused expression, and her heart raced. Finally, she threw herself into Lin Fan's embrace. I haven't showered yet, Lin Fan said. However, Hu Tian did not care. They moved tirelessly while sweating like rain. That night, Lin Fan and Hu Tian made their way to every corner of the bedroom. The next day, after Lin Fan and Hu Tian had breakfast together, he drove the Koenigsegg CCR toward Jiangbei University. Hu Tian lay on the bed again to rest. The roads in the morning were always congested, many cars lined up in front of the traffic lights. Lin Fan was not in a hurry and seemed to be very relaxed. At this moment, a notification sounded in his mind. Ding, you've completed the hidden mission, benefit your family and friends. You'll receive a silver packet as a reward. Benefit his family and friends. Lin Fan was stunned. After a while, he remembered that the captain of the investigation department, Deng Jihu, had said that he would be sending an official document to Zhang Yang today. Perhaps it was because of this matter. Lin Fan opened the silver packet. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 5% of Penguin Corporation's shares. Penguin Corporation could be said to be the largest internet company in Hua Nation with a market value of more than 5 trillion. 5% of the shares was more than 250 billion yuan. In other words, Lin Fan had helped Aunt Qing yesterday and earned at least 250 billion. Although shares could not be traded, the annual profit dividends would probably be in the billions. Even Lin Fan had a smile on his face. Boom! At this moment the green light lit up. Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator and sped forward. Even so, when Lin Fan arrived at Jiangbei University, he was already late for class. The roads were really too congested. Hence, Lin Fan did not go to the classroom. Instead, he went to the dormitory to sleep. Time passed like water. When Lin Fan opened his eyes, the sun was high up in the sky. He lay on the bed and casually went through his phone. Not long after, his phone vibrated. 1200. The red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained a residential building in Yiki City. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Today, Lin Fan received a total of 23,221 yuan and a house in Yiqi City. When Lin Fan raised his eyes, a large stack of property ownership certificates and a bunch of keys were quietly placed at the side. Block 3, number 201, 178 square meters. Owner, Lin Fan. Block 3, number 301, 178 square meters. Owner, Lin Fan. Seeing this, Lin Fan could not help but reveal a strange look. He remembered that the house he had bought for Qiu Ziqian happened to be in Block 3. According to the price he had bought at that time, it was more than 8 million yuan. In other words, the price of an entire building was at least a few hundred million. My luck seems to be pretty good recently. After school in the afternoon, Lin Fan drove his Mercedes-Benz G-Class toward Yiqi City. As he turned the corner, the phone in his pocket rang. "Hello, is this Mr. Lin?" A dull voice came from the phone. "It's me," Lin Fan said. "Mr. Lin, I'm from the transportation company. There are some of your items here. Where should I send them?" "Yiqi City, I'm almost there," Lin Fan said. "All right." When Lin Fan arrived at Yiqi City, a truck was already waiting at the entrance. When the driver saw Lin Fan, he quickly walked over and smiled. "Hello, Mr. Lin." "Oh, you're from the transportation company, right?" Lin Fan asked. "Yes, these are all your items. Where should I send them?" After the driver finished speaking, he slowly opened the car door, revealing a car full of all kinds of Louis Vuitton bags and clothes. Lin Fan was stunned. Initially, he thought that the snacks he bought online had arrived. He did not expect that there would be so many clothes and bags. "These are all mine?" Lin Fan asked. "Yes," the driver said respectfully. Lin Fan thought for a while and said, "All right then, help me move them in." Then Lin Fan brought the driver and two porters to the third building. He casually unlocked a unit and placed a large truck's worth of Louis Vuitton clothes and bags inside. Lin Fan looked at the pile of clothes and bags in the house and sighed in his heart. "Fortunately, I got a building in Yiqi City today, otherwise I really don't know where to put so many clothes and bags." As soon as the driver and the porters left, Lin Fan's phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and saw that it was an unknown number from overseas. "Hello, Mr. Lin," a somewhat stiff voice came from the phone. Lin Fan said, "Hello, who are you?" After a while, a low voice came from the other end of the phone. "Mr. Lin, I'm the interpreter for LV's president, Majes. Our Mr. Majes asked me to say hello to you. Also, he asked if you've received the gifts from LV. He hopes you like them." When Lin Fan heard this, he realized that the large truck's worth of LV bags and clothes was all sent over by the president of LV. Hence he said, "I've received them. Tell your president that I like the gifts very much. Please thank him for me." After all, the other party was giving him things out of goodwill. Basic etiquette still had to be done. A hearty laugh and a string of English words soon came from the phone. Lin Fan could clearly understand everything. After all, Lin Fan had professional English skills. However, he did not point it out. It was because Lin Fan was from Hua Nation and only liked the language of Hua Nation. "Mr. President said that it's good that you like them. In the future, he'll send you one of all LV's 151. I've acquired this real estate. I'm launching a new item." Lin Fan chatted with the interpreter for a while more before hanging up. However, he did not leave. Instead, he sent a message to Qiu Ziqian. After a while, Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling came down from the 25th floor. When they saw the pile of clothes and bags in the living room, their eyes lit up. The limited edition steamer. The limited edition LV Crafty that was released the day before yesterday. LV Tribute. The two of them could not help but scream. They used to be air stewardesses and knew all kinds of branded goods. After resigning, they would also look for clothes and bags online when they had nothing to do. Therefore, they recognized the brand and model of the clothes and bags at a glance. Any one of them was expensive and limited edition. In this room, they were randomly piled on the floor. The number of things here, there were probably hundreds or even thousands of them. This was simply unimaginable. Lin Fan looked at their shocked expressions and said casually, "These clothes and bags are all mine, you can use them as you wish." Heavens! When Lin Fan asked Qu Ziqian and Huang Ling to come down, they had already guessed this possibility. However, after Lin Fan confirmed it, they could not help but be shocked. "Darling, why did you suddenly buy so many LV limited edition clothes and bags?" Qu Ziqian could not help but ask. "Oh, I didn't buy them. The president of LV sent them over. Not only that, but he also said that every time LV releases a new product in the future, he'll send one over. Because I bought 5% of LV's shares," Lin Fan said. Naturally, Lin Fan would not say that he had received 5% of LV's shares from the 1,300 red packets he had received 2 days ago. The system and red packets, they were all his secrets. Heavens! Qu Ziqian and Huang Ling cried out in shock again. Every time LV released a new product, they would send one to Lin Fan. In other words, he would have an endless supply of LV products in the future. Lin Fan actually bought 5% of LV's shares. That was LV. Its market value exceeded $1 trillion. 5% of the shares was more than 50 billion. It was completely beyond their imagination. However, what they did not know was that Lin Fan not only owned 5% of LV's shares, but he also owned 5% of Penguin's shares. Otherwise, their expressions would definitely be even more interesting than now. After a long time, Qu Ziqian and Huang Ling finally calmed down. They picked out their favorite clothes and bags and returned to the 25th floor happily. "Brother Lin Fan, the LV clothes and bags are all on the 5th floor. Could it be that you bought the 5th floor too?" Lin Fan shook his head. "Not just the 5th floor, I bought the entire building. All of it." The two of them widened their eyes again and shouted in surprise. Other people would have to worry about buying a house for a long time. Lin Fan directly bought an entire building. Lin Fan did not care about their shock. He casually threw out a bunch of spare keys and said, "If you feel that it's too crowded to live together in the future, you can go anywhere you want." Instantly, Huang Ling and Qu Ziqian looked at Lin Fan even more fervently. In order to let them be relaxed and at ease, Lin Fan actually bought the entire building. With a man like this, what could a woman ask for? The next moment, the two of them pounced into Lin Fan's embrace. It was nighttime, and the third block was even more lively than usual. On the distant horizon, a string of fireworks rose and blossomed into gorgeous flowers. The next day, since it was Saturday, Lin Fan sat on the sofa after breakfast and casually scrolled through his phone. At this moment, his phone vibrated slightly. It was Chu Yunyu. "Chu Yunyu, our company is preparing to launch a new product. Do you have time to come over and take a look?" Lin Fan replied without any hesitation. Lin Fan said, "Okay, I'll come over later." Then Lin Fan chatted with Qu Ziqian and Huang Ling, who looked exhausted, before driving the Lamborghini toward Feiyang Building. In the past, the advertisements at the entrance of Feiyang Building were for cars and electronic products. Now there was a large logo of flower stem, which was very eye-catching. When Lin Fan took the elevator to the 17th floor, a familiar fragrance wafted over. Last time, Flower Stem's company seemed a little empty. At this moment, it was bustling with activity. When the receptionist saw Lin Fan, she quickly stood up and said in a very respectful tone, "Hello, Mr. Lin." Recently, Flower Stem had been doing well. Even the bonuses and wages of all employees had increased substantially. The receptionist knew very well that all of this was because of Lin Fan. In addition, Lin Fan had a good relationship with the president, Chu Yunyu, and he owned 30% of the company's shares. No matter how one looked at it, Lin Fan was worthy of respect. Lin Fan nodded his head. "Hello. Mr. Lin, are you here to see the president? The president is in the office now." "All right," Lin Fan replied. Then he strode into the company. After a dull knocking sound, a pleasant voice came from the president's office. "Please come in." At this moment, Chu Yunyu seemed to be reviewing some important documents. She was so focused that she did not raise her head immediately. Lin Fan looked at her from afar. He had not seen Chu Yunyu for some time since he last saw her at Hu Tian's house. Today, Chu Yunyu was wearing a white-collar suit. She looked very capable and her full figure was perfectly highlighted. There was a hint of fatigue on her quiet face, but it was also filled with excitement. Obviously, the company had been very busy during this period of time. At the same time, she was very satisfied. This made Lin Fan's heart ache, but at the same time he felt happy for her. Serious people were the most beautiful. At this moment, Chu Yunyu exuded an unparalleled charm. Chu Yunyu finally raised her head. When she saw that it was Lin Fan, a smile that was hard to hide appeared on her face. Lin Fan, why didn't you tell me you were coming? Sit down, I'll pour you a cup of tea first. As Chu Yunyu spoke, she threw the documents aside and got up to make tea. Although she was very dedicated to her work, it was obvious that Lin Fan was more important to her. After a while, the office was filled with the fragrance of tea. Lin Fan picked up the cup of tea and took a sip. How does it taste? Asked Chu Yunyu hurriedly. It's sweet, elegant, and fragrant. It's a very delicious tea, Lin Fan said. I'm glad you like it, Chu Yunyu said happily as if she had received the greatest praise. Oh right, what kind of perfume are you preparing to launch? Chu Yunyu's pretty face was filled with excitement when she mentioned the new product. She held Lin Fan's hand and said, "Come here and look at the information." Then the two of them went to the computer and sat on the same soft executive chair, sticking close to each other. Lin Fan felt a cold, jade-like sensation in his heart. Chu Yunyu stretched out her slender fingers and quickly moved the mouse. After a while, high-definition images appeared on the computer screen. The new product that Flower Stem is launching this time is not perfume but skincare, Chu Yunyu introduced. This skincare product is made from pure natural herbal essences. The product has the fragrance of herbs. At the same time, it's moisturizing, softening, brightening, and so on. The more Chu Yunyu spoke, the more excited she became. Her beautiful eyes glowed faintly. Lin Fan could not hear what she was saying clearly. He was just looking at her serious and excited expression and was a little lost in thought. At this moment, Chu Yunyu suddenly turned to the side and exhaled a mouthful of fragrance. Lin Fan, what do you think? Looking at Lin Fan's burning gaze, she thought of something and blushed. Then she leaned her head forward. Her hand accidentally touched the mouse. Immediately, the computer screen began to play Animal World. Spring is here, everything is recovering, it's time for animals to reproduce. About 2 hours later, Lin Fan and Chu Yunyu walked out of the president's office. At this moment, Chu Yunyu's pretty face was still blushing. Her snow-white skin was covered in sweat as if she had just done some intense exercise. Our skincare product will be scented. You're an expert in perfumes. You have to give more suggestions later, Chu Yunyu said. Lin Fan nodded, no problem. The two of them chatted as they walked. After a while, they arrived at the Research and Development Center. The last time Lin Fan came, the Research and Development Center only had some simple chemical equipment. At this moment, there were many pieces of large-scale equipment. The researchers were carefully adjusting the equipment and analyzing the data. Everyone, stop what you're doing, Chu Yunyu said. Let's complete the steps for our latest skincare product from start to finish. She remembered very clearly that Lin Fan had discovered the shortcomings of the perfume during the production process. Therefore, Chu Yunyu had to show Lin Fan the complete steps. All right, all the researchers responded in unison. They divided their work in an orderly manner. First, they took out the different plant essences that had been placed in the vials and separated them into different colors. After that, the effective components were extracted by heating and evaporating. Then, they mixed various medicinal liquids according to different proportions. About an hour later, a bottle of water-like essence appeared in front of Lin Fan. At the same time, a crisp notification rang out in Lin Fan's mind. Ding, you've completed the hidden mission. Watch the complete steps to the skincare product's production. You've obtained the right to purchase beauty water. Beauty water, it can brighten skin, remove freckles. It has the special effect of revitalizing the skin. Cost 10,000 yuan. Note, if you spend money to buy beauty water, you won't receive a red packet. Chu Yunyu saw that Lin Fan did not go to get the skincare product. Instead, he just stood there in a daze. Lin Fan, what's wrong? She asked. Oh, it's nothing. Lin Fan finally reacted and said, don't release this skincare product for now, I'll show you something later. After saying that, Lin Fan strode out of Feiyang building. He bought a 2-liter bottle of mineral water from a nearby supermarket and gave the water to the supermarket owner. He left only with the empty bottle. Then he went to the car and spent 20,000 yuan to buy 2 liters of beauty water before returning to Flower Stem. Chu Yunyu saw Lin Fan return with a large bottle of mineral water in his hand. She could not help but ask, Lin Fan, you? Lin Fan said, this is a skincare product that I got someone to develop. Try it and see how it works. This was a skincare product. Chu Yunyu was stunned. She had seen many skincare products packaged in gorgeous metal containers, and she had also seen skincare products in exquisite porcelain bottles. However, this was the first time she had seen someone put a skincare product in a mineral water bottle. If it was someone else who said that their mineral water bottle was filled with a skincare product, Chu Yunyu would probably ignore them. However, if it was Lin Fan, Chu Yunyu carefully poured a few drops into her palm. Then she looked in the mirror and gently patted her pretty face. Instantly, she felt a refreshing feeling on her face. The next moment, Chu Yunyu's beautiful eyes widened as she cried out in surprise, how is this possible? Ever since the rainbow perfumes were launched, Flower Stem became famous in Hua Nation. Many channels and sellers came to seek cooperation. Due to this, Chu Yunyu was extremely busy and often stayed up late. After a few days, Chu Yunyu's skin became rough and dark. She even had 2 pimples. When Chu Yunyu used the beauty water that Lin Fan had brought, her skin seemed to have been injected with vitality. It became fair and smooth again, and even the spots disappeared completely. She became even more perfect than before her skin deteriorated. Her skin was as translucent as jade. This was the best way to describe Chu Yunyu. The reason why Chu Yunyu chose to enter the cosmetics industry was not that she was vain. It was because she had been researching all kinds of cosmetics both domestically and abroad for a long time. She knew that Estee Lauder had the ability to resist aging and repair, that Leberny had the ability to activate skin metabolism and prevent aging, and that CBG could make skin glow. However, only after using these skincare products for a long time could they achieve a little corresponding effect. What was the situation now? She had only applied a little bit of skincare product, but in a few minutes there had been an earth-shattering change. How was this a skincare product? It was simply the water of the immortal gods. After a while, Chu Yunyu came back to her senses and said, Lin Fan, this essence. Lin Fan said, if you think it's okay, I'll get someone to send a large batch over regularly, then Flower Stem will sell it. Could she? This was simply too good. Chu Yunyu's breathing quickened. She could almost imagine how popular this essence would be once it was released. Soon, however, she hesitated and said, this is the product you developed. If you let me sell it directly, will it? Lin Fan touched Chu Yunyu's tender face and smiled. Why do we have to draw such clear lines? Besides, don't I still have 30% of the company's shares? When Chu Yunyu heard this, she threw herself into Lin Fan's arms and said gently, Lin Fan, thank you. Lin Fan and Chu Yunyu spent some time together before they went to the private kitchen. Perhaps it was because New Year's Day had just passed, a few red lanterns appeared in the restaurant. In addition to the small bridge and flowing water, the green tiles and red bricks made the entire place's antique atmosphere even more intense. The two of them ordered food and chatted with each other for a while. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone vibrated. 1200. The red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 2 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained Flying Dragon Security Company. Ding, congratulations, you've received 19,999 yuan. After Lin Fan received the red packets, a series of unique delicacies were served. Both of them were very satisfied with the meal. Then Chu Yunyu returned to the company to continue handling matters. Lin Fan headed toward the coiling Dragon Villa complex. Lin Fan had just walked into the villa when the phone in his pocket rang. "Is this Mr. Lin?" An unfamiliar voice sounded on the phone. "It's me," Lin Fan said. "Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm the general manager of Flying Dragon Security Company, Wang Xingli. You're welcome to come to Flying Dragon Security Company anytime to make your arrangements," Wang Xingli said respectfully. Flying Dragon Security Company. Was this not the company that he had just received from the red packet? Arrange work. Lin Fan's eyes moved. Does Flying Dragon Security Company have trucks? Yes, we have many different types of trucks, Wang Xingli said. All right then, get someone to drive 2 trucks to the Coiling Dragon Villa complex in Jiangbei City. Do you know where it is? I know, don't worry, Mr. Lin, we'll rush to Coiling Dragon Villa complex in the shortest time possible. Wang Xingli's voice was sonorous and powerful. After Lin Fan hung up, he bought a large number of plastic buckets. Then he spent 50 million yuan to buy 5,000 liters of beauty water from the system and put them all into the plastic buckets. Lin Fan waited for a while before 2 trucks drove over from afar. A square-faced man got out of the front passenger seat of one of the trucks and quickly walked in front of Lin Fan. He said respectfully, "Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Wang Xingli who just spoke to you on the phone." "Hello, CEO Wang," Lin Fan said. "Oh, you can't do that," Wang Xingli quickly said. "Mr. Lin, you can just call me Lil Wang." Wang Xingli was probably over 40 years old. Lil Wang. Lin Fan really could not bring himself to call him that. "I'll call you Brother Wang," Lin Fan said. Don't, this is even more unacceptable." Wang Xingli shook his head repeatedly with a look of fear and trepidation. In the end, Lin Fan chose to call him by his name. Only then did Wang Xingli accept it. "Wang Xingli, send these buckets to Flower Stem in Feiyang Building. Do you know the location?" Lin Fan said. "Mr. Lin, don't worry, there's no place in Jiangbei that we're not familiar with. I promise to complete the mission." Wang Xingli patted his chest and said. With the help of several security staff members, the 5,000 liters of beauty water were quickly loaded into the trucks before the trucks drove out. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone vibrated. It was a message from his girlfriend, Qin Yuxuan. Lin Fan contacted Qin Yuxuan on WeChat almost every night. However, she rarely took the initiative to send messages during the day. Qin Yuxuan said, "Lin Fan, I want to discuss something with you." Lin Fan said, "Sure, I have nothing to do today. I'll come to Madu to discuss it with you later. We haven't seen each other for a while." "Qin Yuxuan, you're coming over, that's great." Obviously, Qin Yuxuan was very happy. Lin Fan was a person who would do whatever he said. He immediately bought a first-class ticket. Then he drove the Lamborghini toward the airport. When he arrived at the airport, Lin Fan's phone rang. "Heavens, Lin Fan, you actually sent over so much essence." Chu Yunyu's excited voice rang out as soon as the call connected. Lin Fan said, "Is it enough?" "It's enough," Chu Yunyu shouted immediately. "It's too much, do you know, we just analyzed the essence and found that its vitality and effects are more than 1,000 times that of all the beauty products in the world." "More than 1,000 times, did you know this? Oh my God, I almost couldn't believe my eyes." In other words, even if this essence is diluted 100 times, the effect of it is still far beyond the beauty products on the market. Our essence will definitely become a hit. Chu Yunyu's tone became extremely high-spirited as she reached the end of her sentence. She wished she could shout out in excitement. Lin Fan said, "That's good, let me know when the essence is almost used up. I'll get someone to send it to you again." The two of them chatted for a while more before hanging up. Then Lin Fan checked his ticket and boarded the plane through the VIP channel. It was only an hour's flight from Jiangbei to Madu. Lin Fan lay down on the spacious seat in the first-class cabin and had a relaxing sleep. Then he arrived at his destination. After leaving the airport, he called a taxi. When Lin Fan arrived at Madu University, it was only 4 in the afternoon. The brilliant sun was still hanging high in the sky, showing no signs of setting. Lin Fan took out his phone and sent a message to Qin Yuxuan. However, Qin Yuxuan was probably busy and did not pay attention to her phone. Therefore, she did not reply immediately. Lin Fan did not care too much. The last time he came to Madu University was to celebrate Qin Yuxuan's birthday, but he did not visit the university. He had a chance today. Most of the buildings in Jiangbei University were tall, modern, and full of modern style. Madu University, on the other hand, had traces of time, giving people a sense of humanity and history. Lin Fan looked around as he walked. Unknowingly, he had arrived at the teaching building. Many students rushed toward the classroom in front of him. Seeing this, Lin Fan could not help but think of Hu Tian's class. Could it be that the teacher who was about to teach in this classroom at Madu University was also a beauty like Hu Tian? However, was it not the weekend today? Why would there be classes? Lin Fan followed them into the classroom curiously and sat in one of the few remaining seats in the corner. Ding! After the bell rang, the entire classroom immediately fell silent. Under the anticipation of Lin Fan and many other students, a short-haired female professor in her 40s walked in slowly with a textbook. Lin Fan could not help but reveal a puzzled look. Why was she not a beautiful teacher? Why was everyone so enthusiastic then? However, since he was here, he should take it as it was. Moreover, Lin Fan did not know where else to go. Therefore, he sat in the classroom calmly. The female professor did not notice Lin Fan and started her lesson. It turned out that this female professor was an economics teacher. Her voice was crisp and very pleasant. She did not sound like someone in her 40s at all. The female professor liked to combine facts in her lectures and was full of logic. She was quite attractive. Lin Fan was barely listening. However, Lin Fan frowned. At this moment, the female professor was using an algorithm to explain the changes in the economy. Lin Fan did not know much about economics. However, he was definitely an expert in mathematical operations. He could easily tell that the female professor's calculation was wrong. Lin Fan listened to the explanation of the wrong formula. It was like he had eaten something wrong and needed to spit it out. Finally, Lin Fan could not help but stand up and say, "Teacher, your calculations are wrong." As soon as he said this, the entire classroom suddenly fell silent. Everyone turned to look at Lin Fan. One had to know that the person standing on the podium was a famous economics professor at Madu University. In fact, she even had a place in the entire Hua nation. Would he use the wrong algorithm? What kind of joke was this? The female professor was not angry. She asked, "Which of the formulas do you think is wrong?" "All of them," Lin Fan said. This time, the female professor could no longer remain calm. After a while, she said in a somewhat funny tone, "Then tell me, how should I calculate it?" Since he had chosen to stand out and point it out, Lin Fan would not back down. He walked straight to the podium, picked up a chalk, and quickly wrote the calculations according to the data given by the female professor. Ed equals dq slash dp asterisk p slash q equals gb slash cg asterisk cg slash aug. Immediately, the entire classroom was filled with a series of rapid knocking sounds like an intense drum beating. It struck straight at people's hearts. In the beginning, the female professor was still relaxed and indifferent. It was because she was very confident in the calculations she wrote. However, the female professor did not want to kill the student's spirit of exploration, so she allowed Lin Fan to write the new formula on the blackboard. However, as time passed, the female professor's calm face gradually revealed a strange expression. Then she became serious. In the end, her face showed excitement. Lin Fan wrote down a lot of calculations. After a while, the remaining blank spaces on the blackboard were all used up. The female professor did not hesitate at all. Like the most hard-working assistant, she quickly wiped all the calculations she had written. Hence, Lin Fan continued to calculate. TC equals TFC plus TVC. FVC equals TVCQ. Gradually, the entire blackboard was almost filled in by Lin Fan. However, he still had no intention of stopping. "Stop. No." Not only did he not stop, but Lin Fan's writing speed increased. Moreover, the calculations written were no longer just what the female professor had written on the blackboard. Instead, he carried out more and more complicated expansion, analysis, and induction. There might even be a conclusion. Seeing this, the female professor's heart was beating faster. She said to the students sitting in the first row, "Go to the office and move a few more. No, bring over 10 small blackboards, hurry up." The female professor's tone was filled with urgency. She understood that many people relied on inspiration when they calculated. If he kept this up, then the calculation would most likely succeed. However, if it was broken, then perhaps it would be very difficult for him to succeed. If Lin Fan were to succeed, that would definitely cause a sensation in the entire economics world. Just thinking about it made the female professor's heart beat faster. The students sitting in the first row could not understand what Lin Fan was writing. However, they could hear the urgency and sternness in the female professor's tone. Therefore, they did not dare to hesitate at all and quickly ran toward the office. After a while, 10 small blackboards were brought over. At this moment, Lin Fan was fully immersed in his calculations. After taking the small blackboards, he did not stop and continued to write. Ding! Absolute focus triggered a flash of inspiration. Lin Fan's writing speed was getting faster and faster. Just as all the calculations were about to be summarized and deduced into a complicated formula. At this moment, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket rang. Lin Fan could not help but put down the chalk in his hand and answer the call. "All right, I'll be right there." After Lin Fan hung up, he turned around and walked out of the classroom. "Where are you going?" the female professor asked anxiously. Just as he was about to successfully derive the formula, the person deriving it stopped. It was as if there were many ants crawling on her heart. It was extremely uncomfortable. "Oh, my girlfriend is waiting for me. I'm going to look for her," Lin Fan said. "Oh right, I'm not your student." The female professor did not care about what Lin Fan said. She hurriedly said, "Student, do you know what you were writing just now? If you continue to derive it and verify it correctly, it can become an economics theorem. You might even win the Nobel Prize in economics." When the female professor said this, her voice could not help but become much higher. Excitement, excitement. The Nobel Prize was definitely the most coveted honor for all education and scientific researchers. Now it was actually possible for it to appear in front of her. Lin Fan said, "I know, right?" After saying that, he continued to walk out of the classroom, facing the possibility of winning the Nobel Prize. He left. The female professor did not expect such a thing to happen. She was stunned for a moment. Then she hurriedly chased after him and shouted, "Hey, student." However, at this moment, Lin Fan had already walked far away. Nobel Prize. For many people, this was indeed very attractive. It was because this represented honor, fame, and money. However, Lin Fan was not interested in glory. As for fame, that was something he did not want. Once he became famous, his normal life would be completely affected. As for money, Lin Fan did not lack it. Therefore, this was not attractive to Lin Fan at all. Relatively speaking, it was more important to meet Qin Yuxuan as soon as possible. At this moment, Qin Yuxuan was waiting at the school gate. Qin Yuxuan was wearing a white lace dress today. She had a perfect figure and snow-white skin under the rays of the setting sun. Her entire body was dazzling like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. She was extremely beautiful. Anyone who passed by, regardless of gender, could not help but look sideways. Women were jealous. Men, on the other hand, yearned for her. When Lin Fan walked over from afar, Qin Yuxuan's pretty face was as radiant as a spring breeze. Then, Qin Yuxuan threw herself into Lin Fan's embrace. This pounce was like a heavy hammer, hitting the chests of the boys passing by. The sound of their hearts shattering. A day apart felt like 3 years. Lin Fan and Qin Yuxuan had not seen each other for a month or two. This made them feel like lovers who had finally met after not seeing each other for many years. The two of them hugged for a long time, but they did not want to separate. At this moment, Qin Yuxuan's stomach suddenly let out a low growl. Her face could not help but blush. Under the setting sun, her skin was like a translucent jade, very beautiful. Lin Fan smiled. Are you hungry? Let's go eat something first. Jin Yuxuan nodded. JE Restaurant was located on the beach of Madu. It was one of the most luxurious Western restaurants in Madu. The environment was elegant and quiet. The decoration was luxurious and heavy. Sitting in the restaurant, one could take in the scenery of the beach. While tasting the delicacies, they admired the scenery, coupled with the elegant and luxurious environment. It gave people the ultimate enjoyment. Lin Fan and Qin Yuxuan looked at each other and smiled sweetly. As the soft music played in JE Restaurant, the best pan-fried foie gras, top-grade snails, black truffle, and high-grade black caviar, many delicacies were served. Lin Fan poured the 1982 Lafite into a wine glass. Then, he raised his glass with Qin Yuxuan and clinked it lightly. Good wine entered his throat, accompanied by delicious food and his lover. Everything was so beautiful. Shangri-La Hotel Presidential Suite. Perhaps it was because she had drunk, Qin Yuxuan kept her head down, her pretty face flushing red. Lin Fan looked at her bashful face. She was just like a cute little rabbit and his heart was filled with love. Are you sleepy? Let's go take a shower. Immediately, the sound of water continued throughout the night. The next day, the sun was high in the sky, and a huge plane flew across the sky. Qin Yuxuan slowly opened her eyes. Lin Fan caressed her soft hair and said, "You're awake, you worked hard yesterday, eat something to replenish your strength." When Qin Yuxuan heard this, a blush appeared on her snow-white face. It was as if the Lafite from last night had made her a little dizzy again. After washing up, Qin Yuxuan ate a big bowl of seafood noodles and drank a cup of soy milk. Her pretty face revealed a satisfied expression. After dinner, she habitually took out her phone and scrolled through the messages. Qin Yuxuan suddenly realized that her mentor had sent a lot of messages to the group yesterday. Kong Ling, students, do you know, just a moment ago our economics almost produced a theorem formula in our school. You should understand what this means. This means that our school is very likely to produce a Nobel Prize in economics. I've never seen such a talented boy in mathematics. But that guy gave up because of his girlfriend's phone call. Really, I'm so angry. No wonder so many people said that women can bring disaster to a country and its people. This is a living example. Students, be vigilant. When Qin Yuxuan saw this, she said in surprise, because of his girlfriend's phone call, he gave up on deducing the economic theorem formula. How could he do this? When Lin Fan heard this, he suddenly felt that this sentence sounded a little familiar. He could not help but stretch his neck and look at Qin Yuxuan's phone screen. His girlfriend is really a disaster, Qin Yuxuan continued. Qin Yuxuan was a graduate student in economics and Kong Ling's student. She was greatly influenced by Kong Ling. She was very clear about the meaning of solving an economic theorem formula. If one had a theorem formula, many problems would be easily solved. Besides, the Nobel Prize represented supreme honor. Cough, cough, cough. Lin Fan started coughing, disrupting the country and its people. Lin Fan wondered if he should tell Qin Yuxuan that this woman who could bring disaster to the country was herself. He did not know what expression she would have. Qin Yuxuan patted Lin Fan's back gently and said, "Lin Fan, are you all right?" "No, I'm fine," Lin Fan waved his hand and said. "Oh right, what did you say you wanted to discuss with me yesterday?" At the mention of this matter, Qin Yuxuan could not help but sit up straight and say, "Originally, I wanted to return to Jiangbei after graduation. In that case, I can always be with you. However, a few days ago, my two seniors invited me to start an investment company in Madu. My mentor is also more supportive of this matter. So I wanted to ask for your opinion." Qin Yuxuan was not just a pretty face, she had many ambitions. It could be seen from her continuous learning until she pursued a master's degree in economics. "Jiangbei isn't far from Madu. If I want to see you, I can come over anytime, just like yesterday. Just do what you want to do." Qin Yuxuan threw herself into Lin Fan's arms and said, "Lin Fan, thank you. Silly girl, supporting your career is what I should do." Lin Fan smiled and said, "Oh right, where are you guys planning to set up your company?" My two seniors have arranged to go around and inspect the sites before they can confirm it, said Qin Yuxuan. Lin Fan nodded and said, all right, I'll accompany you. Okay, Qin Yuxuan said happily. Then Lin Fan and Qin Yuxuan arrived at a Starbucks. People often said that birds of a feather flock together, and this was very reasonable. At this moment, two women in white shirts with beautiful facial features and voluptuous figures were holding coffee and flipping through information. They were Qin Yuxuan's two seniors. Although there was still a gap between their figures and appearances compared to Qin Yuxuan, their looks could definitely get more than 85 points. They might not be considered great beauties, but they were still very rare. Yuxuan, you're here. Have you had breakfast? The three of them greeted each other. Qin Yuxuan said, I've already had breakfast, this is my boyfriend Lin Fan. Then from left to right she introduced, this is Senior Lu and Senior Fan. Lin Fan said hello. Senior Lu teased, Lin Fan, you're pretty capable, you actually managed to woo such an outstanding girl like Yuxuan. This is mainly due to my handsome face, Lin Fan said. But Senior Lu almost burst out laughing, he's handsome but he's also very thick-skinned. Senior Fan did not interrupt. She flipped through the documents in her hands for a while and said, let's go, let's hurry up and look at the office buildings nearby, then we'll discuss where to rent. Senior Lu and Qin Yuxuan nodded as well. After all, this was the reason why they came out today. The group of four went through every corner of Madu and inspected more than 10 office buildings. Every time they came out of an office building, they would take notes and write down their comments. After all, this concerned their future career development, so they were very cautious. Of course, only Lin Fan was relaxed. He just treated it as accompanying Qin Yuxuan to go shopping. When they came out of an office building again, they went to the beverage shop next door and sat down. Senior Fan took out a stack of documents, wrote a few words, and analyzed, the location of Defense Office Building and Xinmei Building is not very good, let's put them aside for now. The location of Tianpu Building is not bad, however there's no common area so we won't be able to use it. Triumph Building is a little old. The Magnificent Hotel is also relatively old. Senior Lu, who was at the side, looked at the office buildings that were constantly being passed. She let out a long sigh and said, if we have money, it would be best to open an investment company in the Global Financial Building. The location and environment are all first class. At the same time, we can also display our strength. In the future, we'll definitely get twice the result with half the effort. When Senior Lu mentioned the Global Financial Building, her eyes seemed to sparkle, and her tone became high-spirited. Oh, Lin Fan asked, then go straight for the Global Financial Building. Senior Fan pushed up her glasses and said, don't even think about the Global Financial Building. The price is several times that of other places. The annual rent for a small office might cost millions. Lin Fan said, let's go take a look first. As soon as he finished speaking, he held Qin Yuxuan's hand and was about to walk out. Senior Lu and Senior Fan thought that Lin Fan wanted to go for a walk, so they did not object and followed him. After all, the Global Financial Building was a good attraction for outsiders in Madu. After Lin Fan walked into the Global Financial Building, he went straight to the marketing center. After he briefly explained the situation, the salesperson brought everyone to the 78th floor. This was a large office of 500 square meters. Through the translucent floor-to-ceiling windows, one could see the Pujiang River that was as bright as the Milky Way under the sunlight. There were also skyscrapers that rose and fell and people the size of ants. It could be said that the beautiful scenery of the entire Madu was captured in their eyes. In this place, if one was tired from work or encountered something that did not go their way, all of one's fatigue and worries would probably disappear if one looked into the distance, right? This was a form of enjoyment. It was an ultimate enjoyment that made one feel relaxed and at ease. Senior Lu, Senior Fan, and Qin Yuxuan's eyes were lit up by the distant sunlight, and their faces were filled with yearning. Seeing this, we'll buy this office, Lin Fan said to the salesperson beside him. How the salesperson was stunned. Senior Lu and Senior Fan did not quite understand. Qin Yuxuan wanted to stop Lin Fan. Seeing that the salesperson did not reply, Lin Fan could not help but ask again, "Why can't I buy it?" "Oh, of course you can." After hearing Lin Fan's affirmation, the salesperson finally reacted. Then he carefully sized up Lin Fan from top to bottom. He was not being snobbish. It was because the price of an office in the global financial building was too expensive. To be able to rent an office here was already considered very powerful. As for buying, that would be too difficult. The average price of this office is 185,000 yuan per square meter. It's 500 square meters in total. The total price is 92.5 million yuan. Lin Fan took out his bank card and said, "All right, swipe my card." "Ooh, sir, please come with me to the marketing center downstairs. We'll draw up a contract for you and then we'll determine the exact price." The salesperson stuttered for a while before slowly explaining the steps of purchasing. He had not prepared the contract beforehand. He had not even prepared a rental contract, let alone a purchase contract. This was because too many people came to see their offices every day. However, there were very few people who actually rented one. The rent of the offices in the global financial building was too expensive. To buy an office directly, that was a small probability that would only happen a few times a year. Soon, everyone returned to the marketing center. The contract was quickly printed out. Lin Fan flipped through the contract page by page. In just 10 seconds, he signed his name at the bottom right corner of the contract. This made the salesperson stunned again. Was he not afraid that there would be problems with the contract? This was a deal that involved nearly 100 million yuan. However, he did not know that Lin Fan had the scanning ability. He could read all the contents of the page in one glance. He could even recite it word for word. Beep. Lin Fan swiped his bank card on the machine. The bill slowly appeared. The transaction was successful. Senior Lu and Senior Fan looked at the contract in Lin Fan's hands and were stunned. What was going on? Where were they? What were they doing? From the moment Lin Fan walked into the global financial center to the moment he signed the contract and made the payment. How long did it take? Including the time they took the elevator, it probably did not even take more than 10 minutes, right? He bought an office worth nearly 100 million yuan within 10 minutes. Senior Fan and Senior Lu felt that everything was so surreal as if they were in a dream. However, Lin Fan did not care too much about it. "Ding, do you want to use the 10x spending return card?" "Yes." Not long after, Lin Fan's phone vibrated. "Notice from Merchant Bank, 925 million yuan was deposited into your account." He spent 92.5 million to buy an office. Then he earned 925 million yuan. At this point, Lin Fan's cash reserves had reached 1.28 billion yuan. Even Lin Fan, who obtained so much cash in one go, could not help but smile. At this moment, Lin Fan's mind rang out with a crisp notification. "Ding, hidden mission completed, own more than 1 billion in funds, reward 10 silver packets. Ding, system upgrade LV6. Level 6 reward, 50 yuan for every breath, 50 yuan for every second of sleep and 50 yuan for every step taken. Rewards are distributed at 12 a.m. daily." At level 5, he could earn a minimum of 1.4 million yuan per day. Now, the total money he could earn from this method had increased by 2.5 times. In other words, he could earn 3.5 million yuan every day. Upgrade cost 52.8 million, 100 million, not including gifts and gambling. In addition, all items obtained from the system are prohibited from being traded. Ding, the check-in system has been activated. Note, you can sign in once a day, you'll receive different rewards. As Lin Fan listened to the notifications in his mind, the smile on his face grew wider. Spending 92.5 million to buy an office was worth it. 157 I can't control my feelings, invite the mentor to eat together. Then Lin Fan, Qin Yuxuan, Senior Fan and Senior Lu returned to the 78th floor. Lin Fan held Qin Yuxuan's hand and walked slowly to the huge, transparent window. He looked down into the distance. "Yuxuan, this office is for you to start your company. Do you like it?" he asked with a smile. Two streams of hot tears rolled down from Qin Yuxuan's beautiful eyes. Yuxuan, why are you crying? Lin Fan was stunned. Oh. Qin Yuxuan did not explain at all. She directly pressed her fiery lips against his. At this moment, silence was better than sound. This kiss was her answer. She was completely enveloped in happiness and happiness. With such a boyfriend, what could she ask for? Qin Yuxuan had even forgotten that Senior Fan and Senior Lu were still in the empty office. She really could not control her emotions. Of course, Senior Fan and Senior Lu did not notice their actions. That was because they were still in a daze. This spacious and luxurious office overlooking the entire Madu would be his workplace in the future. They were still in disbelief. After a long while, Qin Yuxuan parted with Lin Fan, her face flushed red. Lin Fan wiped the lipstick off the corner of his mouth and asked, "The company's location has been settled. You probably haven't prepared the startup funds yet, nor have you attracted any investment clients, right?" Speaking of work, Qin Yuxuan immediately came out of her shy state. It was as if she had transformed into a professional white-collar worker and was full of energy. "We're preparing to borrow 500,000 yuan each from the university, totaling 1.5 million yuan. As for the clients, we have some potential clients from the past. After the company opens, we'll have in-depth contact and cooperation. In addition, my mentor is willing to help introduce some customers to me." When Lin Fan heard that, he nodded his head thoughtfully and said, "How about this? I'll take out 200 million first. Part of it will be the startup capital and the other part will be given to the company by me as your first customer. You guys can determine how to invest it." Silence. The entire empty office was silent. Senior Lu and Senior Fan opened their mouths wide, forming an O shape. What did they hear? He would take out 200 million first. His tone was so calm. It was as if he was taking out 200 yuan. Did he have to be so domineering? 200 million yuan. He could become a key client of any large investment company and obtain a guaranteed high return on investment. At this moment, he directly took it out for a newly established, in fact, it was a small company that could close down at any time. Once it went bankrupt, the 200 million yuan would go down the drain. Taking out 200 million for his girlfriend to practice. It turned out that there was such selfless love in the world. Lin Fan. Qin Yuxuan's beautiful eyes, which had just regained their calm, became misty again. Then she ignored Senior Lu and Senior Fan and jumped into Lin Fan's arms. After a long time, they separated again. Lin Fan said, "It's getting late, why don't we go eat first?" "All right," Qin Yuxuan replied softly. "I want to call my mentor over too, she's helped me a lot." Lin Fan could not help but think of that short-haired female professor who kept asking him to come back and continue to derive the formula. Of course. At this moment, Senior Lu said, "I finally understand why Lin Fan was able to woo Yuxuan. Not even a celestial immortal can withstand such an attack." "Celestial immortal?" Lin Fan asked. "That can't compare to my Yuxuan." As he spoke, he gently stroked Qin Yuxuan's hair. Senior Lu said, "This wave of PDA, I feel like I don't even need to eat anymore." Then she asked, "Oh right, Lin Fan, do you have a brother?" "I have a younger sister," Lin Fan said. Senior Lu heaved a long sigh, looking as if she had missed out on hundreds of millions of yuan. The few of them chatted as they walked. Not long after, they arrived at Li Restaurant. The outside of the Li Restaurant was rather ordinary. The interior of the restaurant was decorated in black, giving off a sense of grandeur and luxury. "When I first came to Madu to study, I read a lot of legends about Li Restaurant's dishes on the internet," Senior Lu said excitedly. "I heard that the founder of Li Restaurant used to be a second-grade official. Moreover, he was the kind of high-ranking official who specialized in tasting imperial banquets. The dishes of Li Restaurant were made according to the imperial banquet after he retired. In other words, the dishes here are all things that the emperor used to eat. I don't know how many times I've passed by this shop, but I've never walked in even once. My wallet really doesn't allow it. Today, thanks to Lin Fan and Yuxuan, I finally have a chance. I have to try it." The more Senior Lu spoke, the more excited she became. Although the dishes had not been served yet, she seemed to have smelled the fragrance and could not help but swallow her saliva. The owner of Lee Restaurant didn't retire, Senior Fan corrected. The Qing dynasty perished, however this shop is indeed very famous. Both Elder Jin and Cheng Long have come here to dine. Eh? Yeah, Senior Sister Lu praised, the food must be delicious. At this moment, a series of low footsteps sounded from outside. Then the female professor with short hair strolled in. Senior Fan and Qin Yuxuan as well as Senior Lu all stood up and said respectfully, "Hello, Professor Feng." Professor Feng nodded and was about to speak. In the next moment her small eyes suddenly widened. Then she took big strides and quickly walked in front of Lin Fan. She hugged his arm and shouted excitedly, "I finally found you, I won't let you go again." It was as if Lin Fan had stolen her wallet, and she was afraid that he would run away. 158 Misunderstanding, write a thesis. Seeing this, Senior Lu, Senior Fan, and Qin Yuxuan were all puzzled. Professor Feng, is there a misunderstanding? Qin Yuxuan asked. Did you get the wrong person? Professor Feng's actions were really too big. It was as if Lin Fan was someone who had done something bad. However, Qin Yuxuan believed in Lin Fan's character. Professor Feng, you must have misunderstood, Senior Lu chimed in. After all, Lin Fan was someone who could spend close to 100 million yuan to buy an office in less than 10 minutes. He was no average person. How could he do something bad? Professor Feng, let's sit down and talk slowly, said Senior Fan. What misunderstanding? Professor Feng shouted. Yesterday. He derived the economics formula in front of me. Just a little bit more and it could have formed an economic formula and theorem. We can't let him go. Qin Yuxuan, Senior Lu, and Senior Fan were all stunned. They all saw the message sent by Professor Feng. A super genius had appeared at Madu University. He had deduced and summarized a formula that was enough to make economics take a big step forward. Although they had not seen this person with their own eyes, they were also filled with admiration for this person. In the end, this person was Lin Fan. Not only was Lin Fan rich, but he was also smart. Heavens! What kind of immortal was this? Then Qin Yuxuan blushed. She suddenly remembered Professor Feng saying that the male student had stopped deducing after receiving a call from his girlfriend and left immediately. Therefore, Professor Feng said that the woman was a disaster to the country and its people. No. Professor Feng was not the only one who thought so. She seemed to think so too. In the end, she was this woman who brought disaster to the country and its people. Lin Fan coughed lightly and said, Professor Feng, don't worry, I won't leave. However, Professor Feng had no intention of letting go. Yesterday, because she did not stop Lin Fan, she regretted it the entire night. Today they finally met again. She would never let such a thing happen again. Professor Feng, why don't we sit down first? Lin Fan pointed at Qin Yuxuan. Look, my girlfriend is here, I won't leave again. What, you're that woman who brought disaster to the country and its people? Professor Feng shouted. Qin Yuxuan's pretty face instantly turned red as she lowered her head silently. At this point, Professor Feng slowly put down Lin Fan's arm and asked, What's your name? My name is Lin Fan, Lin Fan answered honestly. Yesterday, Lin Fan was not too polite to her. After all, she was just a stranger. Today was different. Today, Lin Fan knew that she was a teacher who took good care of Qin Yuxuan. Therefore, he had to show respect. Lin Fan, it's such a pity that you left yesterday. If you had continued to derive it, it would very likely become an economic formula or theorem. I'm afraid I don't know when you'll be able to complete it next time. Professor Feng sighed, her face full of regret. Anytime, Lin Fan said casually. He was not speaking nonsense. That was because the specific derivation formula had been imprinted in his mind when he triggered the flash of inspiration. It was impossible for him to forget it. Really? Professor Feng shouted excitedly. Lin Fan nodded his head. Seeing this, Professor Feng hurriedly took out a notebook and a ballpoint pen from her bag. She said in a tone full of anticipation, Lin Fan, quickly write down the derivation and the final formula for me. Lin Fan thought that since the dishes had not been served yet and he had nothing to do anyway, he might as well do it. Therefore, he took the pen and paper and wrote quickly. Immediately, the sound of a ballpoint pen tapping on the notebook rang out. At the same time, a series of elegant and flowing characters quickly appeared in the notebook. Qin Yuxuan, who was sitting at the side, looked at Lin Fan's serious expression as he wrote the calculations. She was entranced. In the past, when she was in high school, Lin Fan was very hardworking and serious. The reason why Qin Yuxuan liked Lin Fan. On one hand, Lin Fan was indeed handsome, on the other hand he was serious. That was because a serious man could exude a unique charm. At this moment, in Qin Yuxuan's eyes, Lin Fan was exuding his charm to the extreme, causing her heart to race. If it was not for Professor Feng and the others, Qin Yuxuan would have thrown herself into Lin Fan's arms. Lin Fan's writing speed was very fast. In just a few minutes, 2 pages of the notebook were filled with neat calculations. Soon the 3rd page was finished. Lin Fan put down his pen and paper. After the deduction, the economic theorem and formula appeared. All right, that's great," Professor Feng shouted excitedly, her entire face full of smiles. Then she hugged the book tightly in her arms like a treasure. Senior Fan could not help but ask, "Professor Feng, is the formula correct?" Her studies were not bad. However, Lin Fan's calculations were too complicated, she could not understand them at all. "This requires detailed verification," Professor Feng said. "However, even if the conclusion is wrong, it'll still greatly promote the development of economics. And if it's correct." At this point, Professor Feng's face became even more excited. She seemed to have already seen the grand scene after the formula was proven to be correct. Then Professor Feng said, "Lin Fan, spend more time and write a complete economics thesis on the derivation of the formula. I'll help you revise it and submit it to ECTA." Lin Fan waved his hand, "Let Yuxuan write it, I'll tell her the detailed process." Professor Feng looked deeply at Lin Fan, her face revealing a look of shock that was hard to hide. Having her write the thesis was equivalent to giving away half of the credit for free. After all, this was half the result that could make the entire field of economics take a big step forward. It might even win them the Nobel Prize in economics. They would leave a mark on history. Even a married couple would not be so generous. Moreover, they were just a couple. "Lin Fan, you should write it. I didn't even participate in this deduction process," Qin Yuxuan said. Obviously, she understood what it meant to write a thesis. Lin Fan said, "I've never studied economics, I've never even written a thesis before. How could I write such things?" Yuxuan, don't decline. "Ooh, all right then." Qin Yuxuan hesitated for a moment before answering. However, she had already decided that even if she had to write the thesis herself, she would leave all the glory to Lin Fan. At this moment, delicacies were slowly served. Shrimp and celery heart, dried phoenix chicken, amber peach kernels, fried red fruits, braised fish, white braised abalone, soft fried fresh shellfish, egg chicken soup. Each dish was gorgeous in color, beautiful in shape, and filled with fragrance. Now the economic formula had been successfully derived. Everyone was in a good mood and had a good appetite. It was a good time to eat. Everyone ate happily, they even drank a little wine and their faces turned red. Initially, Lin Fan was prepared to treat them. However, Professor Feng said that she had witnessed the emergence of the economic formula, so she had to treat him. Seeing how insistent she was, Lin Fan decided to let her be. Tomorrow was Monday. In addition, Qin Yuxuan's matter had already been settled. Therefore, Lin Fan did not stay in Madu any longer. He bought a first-class ticket for the afternoon and headed to Jiangbei. "Yuxuan has really found a good boyfriend," Senior Fan praised sincerely. "He's not just a good boyfriend," Senior Lu said, "he's simply a perfect male god. He spent more than 90 million to buy a big office in the global financial building. Then, he gave 200 million yuan to our new company as startup capital and investment capital." The more Senior Lu spoke, the more excited she became. She was dancing with joy. Professor Feng, who was standing at the side, said in surprise, "He even took out so much money." Professor Feng was a financial expert and often dealt with very large amounts of money. However, that money did not belong to an individual but to the company, taking out nearly 300 million yuan in one go. Most likely, even a person with a net worth of more than 10 billion yuan would not be able to take it out in a short period of time. However, Lin Fan had done it. How rich was Lin Fan exactly? Unimaginable. Professor Feng patted Qin Yuxuan's shoulder and said, "A man like this is hard to control." Qin Yuxuan's delicate body trembled slightly. Soon, however, her beautiful eyes became determined again. Eh? Yesterday, Lin Fan was exhausted for the entire night. Therefore, as soon as he lay down on the spacious first-class seat, he quickly fell asleep. When Lin Fan opened his eyes, he was already in Jiangbei. Lin Fan drove the Lamborghini that he had left in the parking lot yesterday and headed toward the Coiling Dragon Villa complex. When the security guards standing at the entrance of Coiling Dragon Villa complex saw Lin Fan, they all stood up straight and took the initiative to greet him. Lin Fan greeted them and entered the villa near the lake. Then he turned his attention to the system.